Hello and welcome everybody. This is round 4 of season 8, the Virtual Drift Championship. This is Silverstone 2005, a little bit of a throwback. And I'm your host Craig. With me as always is Tanner. What's up, dude?
What is happening, Craig? It was a wonderful little lunch period. That was a great break from what an intense qualifying session that we had here, and what craziness this track is already bringing to us. After watching those last 16 battles, we have some crazy battles coming up ahead of us in the top 32.
Yeah, absolutely. And after those last 16 qualifying battles as well, I mean, just really close all the way through it. Drivers pushing hard. And then ended up making it into the top 32 again. The 29th through 44th drivers, in case you missed it, battle it out for the last 4 positions in that top 32. We'll take a look at today's top 32 bracket. Brandon Patrick and Olivier Blias is going to start things out for us. Austin Zalewski and Alexander Yegard, Samuel Cuddy, and Hiroa Manoa joining us today for his first event. Daniel Andreev and Dimitri Mitten to start the first group of today's main event out. If you're just now joining us, we'll go to today's line map as well. Start of the course on the right hand side of the screen. Big long run up. Drivers are entering in at around anywhere from 110 to 120 mile an hour, and then full throttle through turn 1, your first outside zone right there upon entry, and then your next inside clip for clip 2, out to outside zone 2 for clip 3, and then your small off throttle zone there before clip 4. Let the drivers set up nicely for that big long outside zone. It is a super tricky one. We've got a little a reference point on the ground. It's not necessarily judged super hardcore. Drivers can be a little off of it. If they're way off of it, then yeah, it's going to be quite a deduction. But most of the time, if they're going to be way off of it, then they're also going to be way off for outside zone 3 or clip 4. And then moving along through the Manji section of the course at clip 5 into clip 6, another real small off throttle area there, allowing drivers to set up for that big long outside zone. There's one they really got to sort of pour on the angle there through that zone. And then your next reference point right before clip 7, you use the exact same way. Get your rear tires on that line. They can go a little bit inside, a little bit outside. It's not a huge deduction or anything, unless they're way off of it. And again, if they're going to be way off of it, they're going to be off for clip 7, and then down the small hill for clip 8, 9, and 10, that last and final hairpin tricky section of the course as well. You got your decel zone there. Drivers need to be back on throttle quickly, really as soon as that zone ends, if not before it, and then pick up that difficult to grab inside clip before going out to clip 10 and across that finish line. But as you pointed out, I mean, it's been super exciting so far. The qualifying scores were really high. The last 16 qualifying battles were really close. So this, again, should be a really exciting one. If you're wondering if the track will become public, of course it will be. We will make it public. It's essentially just an add-on to an already existing track you can find here on YouTube through 1997. Got it out available for download, and again, all we did was just add on to it, no editing whatsoever, as it didn't need it. This track looks absolutely gorgeous, so well done, and just turning in for really good and close battles today as we start out our top 32. I believe we've got our drivers at the line ready to go.
We sure do, Craig. Brandon Patrick in the Ferrari, taking a wonderful qualifying session, getting into the 98s, outbeating Zacho Sullivan, is in our lead lane, being chased down by Olivier, who made his way in through the last 16 battles. We're underway here, the top 32 for round 4 of the Virtual Drift Championship. Initiating in is Brandon Patrick. Olivier right there with him, though, as they come through outer zone 1 through outer zone 2. Up the hill into outer zone 3, a good line that Brandon out front is drawing, making it a little easier for Olivier to chase him down and stick within that pocket as they come into outer zone 5. It's a long one here today, so I'm sure I'll be out of breath by the end of this day. Transitioning to outer zone 6 now. Olivier still keeping within that pocket, keeping a good distance away and into the tightest section of the course here. Make that transition, get through that inside clip and push out the final outer zone where Olivier sticks to the door across the line.
Yeah, really good start to today's main event here at Silverstone. Brandon Patrick out front in Fiorella. Good initiation with that big Ferrari, but look at Olivier applying the pressure in that chase position right along the bumper as they make that transition coming up the hill and staying in that pocket for outside zone 3. Brandon doing a really good job out front. He did qualify first, and let's not forget Olivier qualifying 40th and then battling his way through those last 16 battles and putting on a show here in that chase position against Brandon Patrick as they work through outside zone 6. Down the hill now, 4-7, grabbing that inside clip. Just super nicely done from Brandon out front.
Well, now we'll get to see the reverse end of it. Olivier now in the lead position. Brandon Patrick ready to chase him down. Can Olivier make a huge upset here and get the win over Brandon Patrick? Will Brandon move on to the top 16? We'll find out here shortly. Initiating in, Olivier looks good. The pressure already on though from Brandon Patrick off of that initiation through outer zone 1 and 2, leaving no room for the transition along the bumper as they come through outer zone 3 side by side and door to door through the Manji section. Again, Brandon leaving barely any room for Olivier to breathe as you look there right along the wheel as they leave outer zone 5 and transition down to outer zone 6. But Olivier, let's not forget this wicked lead run that Olivier is putting on right now. Absolutely outstanding. But Brandon just always right there with him.
Wow, what a start to the top 32. Let's go back on this replay of the second half of the battle. Olivier now out front, initiating in nicely, but look at there, Brandon jumping right onto the door immediately on the bumper through that transition as well, hanging on to him through outside zone 3. Almost a mirror image of the first half of the run. So we see Brandon reeling back in, giving a little bit of space in the beginning of that zone. Olivier hanging on to it, comes up a little shallow of that reference point, but then gets into outside zone 6 pretty nicely there as he works down the hill. That's some final transition, a little bit wider around that inside clip as Olivier, but still solid lead run, solid chase by both of these drivers. We go to our judges for the first time here in today's main event. And look at there, Brandon Patrick gets the win over Olivier, but what a fight Olivier put up against the #1 qualifier after qualifying 40th.
Yeah, and that just goes to show again the level that these drivers have brought into this season. It is no longer, oh, we can afford to miss a day. It is bring everything you have to every event. And now we're here already to see who will go and face Brandon Patrick in the top 16 in our lead lane. Qualifying in 16th was Austin Zaleski, but right beside him is Alexander Jaeger, who qualified 17th. So this battle will be close. Initiating in is Austin, but Jaeger right there with him off that initiation, leaving a little bit of room there through outer zone 2, just enough for that transition into outer zone 3, keeping in that pocket, staying near the door, transitioning now through outer zone 5 or 4, then into 5. A little bit of a surge there from the chase of Alexander Jaeger to really close that proximity and get right up on the door of Austin as they come through outer zone 6 now. The pressure's there, and the door is almost closed. One last transition to go through that inside clip. And wow, what battles are we going to have here today?
I know, if this is any indication of how today is going to go, man, we might be here a while. Austin Zaleski out front here in the replay. Good initiation, filling outside zone 1. Pretty tight to inside clip, grabs that first hash. Alexander right there in that chase, reeling him in for outside zone 3. Just following the line perfectly, but so is Austin out front. He's doing what he's supposed to be doing in that lead position, filling these outside zones, staying smooth through the transitions. We see Alexander back off a little bit there for that transition, reels him back in through outside zone 6. Another tricky part of the course here coming up. And nicely done by both of the drivers going through that finish line door to door.
Well, now back at the start line, they're flipped around and ready to do battle again to try and secure their spot in the top 16. Will it be Austin or will it be Alex? Alex out in front this time around. Austin going to be chasing him down. Through the start gate, they come down the hill, initiating in. Good initiation from both drivers, right on each other through outer zone 1 and 2. Losing a bit of ground was Austin there through the transition. but picks it back up here through outer zone 3. They make the transition to outer zone 4. Now transition to outer zone 5. Austin keeping a little bit of a distance, but closing it up here through outer zone 5. Now going to have to leave some more room there for that transition into outer zone 6. Putting it on the wheel is Austin in that chase position to Alexander Jaeger. They transition once more, kicking up a bit of dirt from that lead, and a little boop there from the chase right before they finish out the run.
Yeah, let's go back on the replay here. Alexander out front this time, almost initiating late, and then we see him pull a little bit of angle out there through turn 1, maybe leading to the gap, but then Austin reeling him in for outside zone 3. Tons of angle there from Alexander Jaeger before making that transition. And then they go out into outside zone 5. Door to door really there through that zone. Good transition back. Working his way out there to that track edge for outside zone 6. Yeah, almost maybe a little bump there from Austin in that chase. And then last and final turn here, maybe getting nudged across. Yeah, weird little hiccup there through that hairpin. We go to our judges for the second time here in the top 32. And look at there, quickly to the left, Austin Zalewski gets the win over Alexander Jaeger, but man, what another really good battle here in the top 32.
Absolutely crazy out there. As we move off to our next battle here, Samuel Cuddy in a new car, that RPS 13, beautiful 180SX in the lead lane, up against Hiroa Minowa in that brand new Yaris GR. Such a cool car to see here. Their light goes on and their battle is underway. Initiating in, looks good for the lead. The chase trying to catch up, fell a little bit behind there, didn't quite grab the second outer zone from the chase. Transitioning up to outer zone 3. We're doing a great job out here right now with Samuel Cuddy, but Hiroa trying to stay in that pocket, try to stay right there on the door of Samuel Cuddy as they come through outer zone 5. Now to make the transition down to 6. And looking good so far. A little bit of ground loss there for Hiroa, but manages to regain that proximity and get back on the door. Now for the final turn, and he really dives right into the side of Samuel Cuddy, and that might hurt his decision with the judges.
Yeah, that's a tough one. It's really easy to do in that chase position, though. It's almost like you got to hold yourself back from really doing that, but we'll take another look here on the replay. Samuel getting off to a good start, but then Hiroa reeling him in by this outside zone 3 and doing a good job. It's really tough for these Japanese drivers. They come in with not necessarily the greatest connection to our servers, but still doing a good job anyway. Is Hiroa in that chase position, sticking with Samuel Cuddy. So Samuel's really smooth through these courses so far this season, and then there's that big dive. You almost wonder how much of it was maybe a little bit of lag from Hiroa, but a big dive nonetheless. It causes some contact, and we switch it around for the second half of the battle.
We sure do, and on that point, I did notice in practice Minowa was having a bit of stuttering, and I can even see it now when he's sitting at the line, so I hope it doesn't affect him too much as they still have one half of this battle to go. Minowa now out front in that Yaris, being chased down by Samuel Cuddy. Down the straight they come. Initiating in is Minowa out front, right along the bumper though. On that initiation was Samuel Cuddy, trying not to lose any ground through outer zone 1 or 2. But looks like Minowa is able to keep him at bay here through outer zone 3, transitioning through this Manji section into outer zone 5, and it could be a little bobble there from the chase driver. Could be just Samuel Cuddy knows he's just got to play it safe and have a clean run and not make any major mistakes, and he moves on. But I'm sure Minowa wants to fight it out as hard as he can here and make up for any mistakes made as they come through that final hairpin and across the line.
Yeah, really good lead from Minowa out front. We take another look at it here. Samuel Cuddy in the chase. Hiroa flying through turn 1. Maybe could have a little bit more angle, but then settles into it nicely for outside zone 3 as they work their way through it. Good transition there. And into outside zone 5. Samuel trying to reel him in, but maybe playing it safe after the big contact in that last and final turn in the first half of the battle. Last and final turn there. And there they go across that finish line. We'll go to our judges here. Samuel Cuddy on the left. Hiroa on the right. And a split decision there. So Chris calls for one more time, but Carl and Matt go with Samuel Cuddy, and we'll see Samuel Cuddy move on into the top 16. But good job from Hiroa in his first event here in the Virtual Drift Championship with his ping as well. And not to mention, it's probably, I don't know, 3-4 o'clock in the morning over there. So it's good to see him here in competition.
Absolutely, Minowa, great job, and we hope to see you again in round 5 in just a couple weeks. Next up to the line to see who will go up against Samuel Cuddy. In the lead lane, we have Daniel Andrzejczyk in the BMW being chased down by Dimitri Mitten in the blue BMW behind him, initiating in. Looking good for Daniel out front. Dimitri trying to catch up off of that initiation. There's the surge, get up in the pocket, get on the door of Daniel out front. Daniel so far, though, doing a great job in that lead lane, while Dimitri's just keeping it in that pocket and not going anywhere, applying all the pressure here, trying to get as close as possible, maybe even to the wheel, maybe even right on the door. We'll see as they transition into that final inside clip and push to that final outer zone, and it's another close battle.
It sure is. Let's go back once again to this replay here. Initiating in, filling the first outside zone, nice and snappy. Could have been a little bit deeper at outside zone 2, and then works into 3. Really good there with that chase position right there in that pocket, right along the bumpers there as they work through the course. Dimitri almost pushing him through that zone, backs off for the transition there, and then right back into it. Almost wanting to nudge him through this small little downhill last and final turn here. Picking up that inside clip, and there they go across that finish line, just door to door.
Well, back around at the start gate, Dimitri Mitten's now in the lead lane, ready for the second half of this battle, while Andrzejczyk is right there in that chase position, ready to hopefully move on into the top 16, but there's only room for one of them to go up against Samuel Cuddy, and we'll find out who right after they get going. The blue light goes on, down the straight they come. Down the hill, Dimitri Mitten out front, initiating in. Daniel Andrzejczyk alongside him off the initiation. Look how close he was through outer zone 2. Leaves the transition room to go up the hill, and he is on the attack in that chase position. Transitioning now through the Manji section into outer zone 5. Daniel matching that angle, putting it on the door through outer zone 5. Let's see what happens here through outer zone 6. Not as deep into outer zone 6 as Dimitri Mitten could be, but Daniel sticking right there with him, giving him no room to move whatsoever as they cross the line wheel to wheel.
Well, let's take another look at it here. Dimitri out front this time, leading Daniel through the course. Good initiation, on time, filling that zone, grabbing the inside clip, filling the next outside zone as well. Just a heater of a lead out front from Dimitri here, but Daniel right there in chase where he's supposed to be throughout this whole entire course, looking and reeling him in for outside zone 5. Maybe giving him some nudges there through the zone, backs off for the transition, and then right back into the fight for the next outside zone as they work down the hill now. Last and final turn coming up here, filling the zone, picking up throttle, grabs the first hash, and then there they go across the finish line door to door. We go to our judges once more here. Another tough call here in the top 32. And they're moving along. They're moving left. And they give it to Daniel Andrzejczyk. He gets the win over Dimitri. Really tough battle between those two, but we'll see Daniel in the top 16. Oh, we'll take a look at our bracket as that is the first group of top 32. Done and over. Brandon Patrick moves along to face off against Austin Zalewski in the top 16. Samuel Cuddy and Daniel Andrew also move on, and they'll face each other in the top 16. But up next, Brandon Gardner and Ethan Pikachu, Danielis Parangauskas and Dejon Rees, Robert Kevsinski, Ernestus Yakubelis, Darius Ostreka, and Riley Sobush. Some good battles coming up here in the top 32.
Well, looking like our drivers are at the line, ready to go. Brandon Gardner in the all-new Z with the NOS Energy Drink livery, running for Chris Forsberg's team there in that lead lane. In the chase lane, another all-new Z driven by Ethan Pikachu. So this battle is going to be crazy. Z on Z action here as they leave the gate and come down the hill. Initiating it is Brandon Gardner, qualifying fourth today through outer zone 1 and 2. But look at the attack there from Ethan, already trying to keep it on the door through outer zone 3. So you see him transition through the Manji section into outer zone 5. Ethan almost touching the door of Brandon Gardner in that chase position as they transition into outer zone 6 on the door, wheel to wheel through outer zone 6. Ethan's giving him absolutely no breathing room, but a good lead run here from Brandon out front. A little bit of contact there as they come through that final inside clip and finish out the run.
Yeah, holy smokes. Let's take another look at this. Great initiation from Brandon Gardner. First hash for that inside clip, fills outside zone 2. But here we see Ethan just reel him in and then stay there the rest of this run. Now, a heater of a lead run from Brandon Gardner, filling these outside zones right along that track edge, but just getting pushed around from Ethan through that zone. Ethan backing off the way he needs to for the transition, and then maybe giving him another nudge there as he kind of seems to nudge him all the way through that outside zone. Last and final turn, we see Brandon go just a little bit wide for the inside clip, but they go across that finish line door to door.
And now back around at the start gate, Ethan in the lead lane, Brandon ready to chase him down and bring the heat just like Ethan did in his chase run. The lights go on and down the straight they come, down the hill. Ethan out front, Brandon chasing right there off the initiation through outer zone 1. Brandon already giving him a touch through outer zone 2. A little bit of tire kick up there from Ethan in that lead lane, but Brandon all over the door of Ethan as they transition through outer zone 4 and now into 5, leaving almost no room on that transition. He had to back out of it just a slight bit to avoid hitting the bumper. This is absolutely mental between these two as he's not leaving him any room for error, being just as aggressive in that chase, and Ethan's doing a great job out front here. Through that final inside clip they go and finish out wheel to wheel, almost an exact run.
Yeah, I don't see how we don't get it one more time here as we go back to the replay. Ethan out front, great initiation, flying through turn 1 here, filling outside zone 2, maybe dropping just a little bit of a tire, and then working into outside zone 3 nicely with Brandon right there in the pocket, staying with him right along the bumper there through that transition, and then reels him back in for outside zone 5. Ethan right along that track edge, and then right here as well for outside zone 6, just as deep as you could possibly be, hangs on to that zone all the way through it. Last and final transition, and then Ethan's just a little bit closer to the inside clip, but Brandon's right there in that chase position. We'll go to our judges here once more for the top 32. A tough one to call. Maybe we have a winner, maybe we have a one more time. Who knows between these two? Brandon's on the left, Ethan's on the right. Winner moves on into the top 16. And there it is. Carl goes left for Brandon Gardner, but it is an overall one more time between these two.
I honestly think that's the best call that could be made here, as even I want to see them go one more time. The crowd wants to see them go one more time, and I'm excited to commentate them going one more time.
Yeah, just deep breaths before they start.
I'm gonna need it apparently. If you hear a random thud, just, you know, you guys have my contact info.
Do I?
So here we go. The one more time battle to see who will take the next slot in the top 16 in the first one more time battle of the day. Brandon Gardner in the NOS Energy Drink Z up against Ethan Pikachu in his all-new Z. They come down the hill. They initiate through outer zone 1. Ethan takes a way shallower line and almost understeers through that first inside clip to outer zone 2. Now losing a bunch of ground through outer zone 3. A little bit of smoke, dirt being kicked up by the lead driver through outer zone 3. But now they clean it up through outer zone 4 and now into 5. Ethan's back on the door, ready to mount his attack and try to keep up for that mistake he made super early on. Right on the wheel of Brandon through outer zone 5. They make the transition. One last outer zone to go. Along the door is Ethan to Brandon through the finish.
Yeah, Ethan really got out of shape there through turn 1, but then did a really good job to get back into the fight. Let's take another look at it here. Good initiation from Brandon out front. Yeah, huge wash in that chase position from Ethan, almost driving straight up the hill. And I'm not sure how he didn't run Brandon over coming up over that crest, but he definitely didn't. He keeps things going. Brandon on a really good lead run here through the second half of the course, filling that outside zone. Good transition all the way out there to that track edge as he sets himself up into outside zone 6 down the hill. Last and final transition, grabbing that inside clip this time nicely, and there they go across the finish line, door to door.
Well, now back around at the start gate. Ethan now in the lead lane. Brandon ready to chase him down for the second time here for this one more time battle. The lights go blue and off they go. Down the hill, initiating in is Ethan. Right with him is Brandon Gardner. Look at that proximity off of outer zone 1 through the inside clip. Now into outer zone 2, leaving no room for that transition into outer zone 3. He is almost right on the wheel, leaving a bit of room though for this Manji section. They make the transitions work, and now back on the attack comes Brandon. A good job out front here from Ethan, but he's still got a few more outside zones and inside clip to navigate as Brandon tries to mount that attack, get up close. A little bit of dirt being kicked up from the lead driver. Into that final inside clip they go, side by side through the final outer zone and across the line.
Yeah, let's go back to the replay of the second half of this battle. Ethan out front, good initiation from him. Brandon just applying the pressure anyway in that chase position as we see Ethan go just a little wide for outside zone 2 again. As we see a little bit of dirt pop up, but good job for outside zone 3. Brandon again right there in that chase position, right along the bumper. Hangs back just a little bit for outside zone 5, but then reels him back in, staying with him there again. Across that bumper as they make that transition, working their way down the small hill here outside zone 6. We see a little tire drop from Ethan out front. Last and final transition around that inside clip, and there they go, crossing the finish line. We go to our judges for the second time between these two, as this was their one more time battle. Brandon on the left, Ethan on the right. Winner moves on into the top 16. And there they go, to the left for Brandon Gardner. He gets the win over Ethan, as we saw Ethan having that big, massive understeer through turn 1. And Chris Forsberg Racing gets the win and moves on.
Well, what a wonderful one more time battle that was, and that was just absolutely wild. And we got another good battle coming up now. Danielis Parangauskas in that lead lane in the BMW up against rookie Dejon Rees in the Corvette. John went super far in the last round, and let's see what he can lay down here today as they get through the gate nice and clean. Down the straight they come. Initiating in is Danielis. Right with them is Dejon as they come through outer zone 2. Nice and close proximity through outer zone 2 up to outer zone 3 now. Dejon trying to play it, get closer and closer to that pocket of Danielis as he leaves almost no room for that transition. I almost thought Danielis wasn't going to be able to make it with how close Dejon was as they were coming into outer zone 5. But they leave outer zone 5 and into outer zone 6. On the door is Danielis, or is Dejon in that chase position. But Danielis doing fantastic work in this lead lane that allows them to finish out side by side.
Yeah, we'll go back to the replay between these two. Parangauskas out front. Dejon giving chase in that Corvette. Good flick initiation from Parangauskas as he works through turn 1, filling outside zone 2 and then into 3 nicely. Good angle, staying in that zone. Dejon in that Corvette in the chase, applying the pressure. Look at there, almost stopping him from transition. I don't know how he did it. And then applying the pressure through that outside zone. Nicely done by both of them there as well. As Dejon applies that pressure coming down the hill. Last and final transition coming up. Really slamming on the brakes there is Parangauskas. I mean, just barely making it around that inside clip. I'd say good job by Dejon in that chase to not make any contact there.
A very good job indeed. He's become a very good driver very quickly in his rookie season here, and now they're ready to do battle once more for the second half to see who goes on to the top 16 to face Brandon Gardner. Dejon Rees in the lead, Danielis chasing him down. Down the hill they come and initiating in, looking good through outer zone 1. Danielis trying to stick right with him through outer zone 1 and 2, and he manages to do so. Transitioning up the hill, Dejon Rees trying to work his way out to that track edge and making it happen. Danielis, though, sticking right with them, giving him no breathing room as they come into outer zone 5. He puts it on the door of Dejon Rees and leaves that room now for the transition into outer zone 6. Dejon doing very good out front here, but there is Danielis all over that door. 3 more zones to navigate to get through the first 2 into the final outer zone, and they finish out this amazing battle between these two.
Yeah, let's take another look at the second half of this battle. Dejon out front, initiating in, very nicely done. Settles into that angle immediately, filling the outside zones and grabbing the inside clip. Could be a little bit deeper there, makes a small correction to get all the way out there as deep as he can for outside zone 3. Picks up 4 nicely. Right along the bumper is Danielis in that chase, reeling him in, staying in that pocket for outside zone 5. Good transition back from that Corvette out front as they work down the hill now. Pressure being applied from Danielis in that chase, and a good last and final turn right around that inside clip, filling the next zone and across that finish line. We go to our judges once more here in the top 32. Winner moves on to the top 16. Danielis on the left, Dejon on the right. Ooh, and a split call there, so it is going to go to Danielis. Parangauskas, Chris and Carl go left, and Matt goes right for Dejon. So a tough battle between those two. We get a split call, but Parangauskas will move on to the top 16.
Well, now a great job there from Danielis to move on against Dejon Rees. Now we move on to our next battle there. Robert Kavinsky in the Lexus up against Ernestus Yakulibis in that S14. Robert qualifying 5th today, with Ernestus qualifying 28th. Looks like these... Ooh. Maybe a quick restart. He found reverse. You're supposed to be in first gear, Robert. Let's try it again. Get up to that line there. You can do it. Unless something's going on in the back. There he goes. Yep. It's okay. I've stalled many manuals in my lifetime too. It's okay. It happens. Here we go. Robert Kavinsky in the Lexus in the lead lane up against the S14 of Ernestus Yakulibis. They come down the main straight and initiate in. Looking good off the initiation for the lead. Ernestus already trying to apply that pressure through outer zone 2. Not leaving enough room for the transition there was Ernestus. He just got away with it as they come through outer zone 3 and make the transitions now. Outer zone 4, now outer zone 5. Ernestus on the attack, keeping it on the door of Robert as they come through outer zone 5, down into outer zone 6. Looking good so far for our lead driver. Not very many mistakes, but the chase of Ernestus absolutely on fire here, not letting go of the door of Robert.
Yeah, let's take another look at it here. Robert out front, changing colors of his car for top 32. Ernestus giving chase, and yeah, as you pointed out, just doesn't leave enough room for some of these transitions. It looks like multiple. Here's the first one, and super good job from really both of them, but more so Robert to still make that transition happen and still get into outside zone 3. They continue on anyway. Robert filling this outside zone as well. Could have been maybe a little bit deeper, but deep nonetheless. And then it looks like the transition held up once again from Ernestus in that chase position, just applying maybe a little bit too much pressure. And there they go across that finish line.
Now back around at the start gate, we do have Ernestus now in the lead lane with Robert ready to chase him down for the second half of this battle to take another spot in the top 16. Only one can advance. Who will it be? Down the straight they come, initiating in. Ernestus looks good, right with him though. Washing a bit wide was Robert. That's going to slow him down a bit, but he manages to make up for it on the transition up the hill. Now on the door of Ernestus. Ernestus makes the transition there, and right along the bumper goes Robert for the transition into outer zone 5 to keep that proximity and keep it on the door of Ernestus, leaving a bit of room now into outer zone 6. Don't see too much going on here as Ernestus keeps it perfectly on that track edge, but the attack here from Robert is absolutely golden as they cross the line wheel to wheel once more.
Yeah, let's go back on the replay for the second half of this battle. Ernestus out front, going for a little more straight line approach to it. We see Robert wash out big time in that chase position there, but gets back into the fight for outside zone 3 quickly and stays with him really through the remainder of the course. Now he does transition a little early and then almost grabs a piece of that bumper before coming into outside zone 5 here. This one he backs off for, leaves enough room, and then reels him back in strategically for outside zone 6, down to 7, filling it all the way as Ernestus getting around that out or inside clip, and there they go across that finish line. We'll go to our judges. Robert with his old car there on the graphic. Ernestus on the right. Winner will move on to the top 16, but maybe a tough call between these two. We saw Ernestus not give enough room for the transitions in his chase, but then we saw Robert wash out big time through turn 1 and have to get back into the fight. Well, it looks like we have a decision. Chris goes left. Carl goes one more time. Matt goes one more time. We're going to line them back up again. Judge is telling him to clean it up a little bit and line them back up.
Well, one more time indeed, and we're excited. That means more drifting and more of these two wonderful men battling it out for the few spots that remain in the top 16. So Robert Kavinsky in the lead lane up against Ernestus Ukulibis in that chase position. The light goes on and off they go. Down the straight, down the hill. And initiating in, Robert out front. Ernestus sticking with them through outer zone 1 into outer zone 2. Not filling all of outer zone 2, though, was Robert in that lead lane. But that doesn't shake up Ernestus, who hasn't left his door just yet. Through the transitions now of outer zone 4 into 5. Ernestus gets back up in that pocket. Maybe causes a little bit of contact there as we see the lead car kind of shimmy around a little bit. They make the transition clean into outer zone 6 there now. Through 6 into 7, and it's looking real close between these two, door to door and wheel to wheel the whole way around.
Yeah, a bit cleaner there from Ernestus in that chase position specifically, this time leaving enough room for those transitions from Robert out front. Good job by Robert through turn 1 there, filling that outside zone 2, grabbing the inside clip. Nicely done for outside zone 3 as well. Could have been a little bit deeper, but it's a huge ask for that outside zone 3, and we see Ernestus apply the pressure, maybe giving a little bit of contact there through that outside zone. As they work their way into outside zone 6 now, down the small hill they come for the last and final transition here. Doesn't quite get around that inside clip. And there they go across that finish line.
Back around at the start gate, Ernestus now in the lead. Robert ready to chase him down for the second half of this one more time battle to see who secures their spot in the top 16. The light goes on and off they go down the straightaway. Ernestus initiating in. Robert right there with them. Wheel to wheel off the initiation. Now they go through outer zone 2. A little bit of ground loss as they transition up the hill. 2 tires off, 4 tires off. Was that contact due to the tires drops? I don't know. You'll need to look at the replay as that happened very fast.
Yeah, that was a wild one there. We'll go back to it. Here we go. Have to wait and watch him at the line for a moment here. The replay was cut short. There they go. Lights on. Down the hill, initiating in. Almost late again from Ernestus. Working up the hill now. Transitions. Yeah, look, Ernestus was just going off on his own to begin with, trying to save it as best as he can. He does end up getting some contact from Robert, but I really don't think that was any fault of Robert. We'll pull up the judges graphic and let them make their decision here. Robert on the left, Ernestus on the right. We hate to see it come to an end that way, but sometimes that's what happens. And there they go to the left for Robert. He gets the win. We'll see him in the top 16.
Well, a good heartfelt battle between those guys. We move on to our last battle this half of the bracket. We have Darius Ostreka in the lead lane. Riley Sobush ready to chase him down. Initiating in is Darius Ostreka, looking good through outer zone 1. Riley on the attack here, though, for the rookie driver. Into outer zone 3. He's trying to keep that close proximity to the BMW of Darius. Not an easy thing to do. As they come into outer zone 5, right along the door goes Riley to Darius, and now transitioning to outer zone 6. Riley giving him no breathing room and no room to make an error as they come out of that outer zone into outer zone 7. Now for that inside clip, Riley keeping it attached to the rear quarter all the way through to the finish.
Yeah, Riley really applying some pressure in that chase position. Darius out front, good initiation. It takes a second to get to angle from Darius, but filling that next outside zone. Here they come up the hill, back on throttle. And here's an odd one for me. Darius holds on to that line for quite some time there. We see him way outside those skid marks, but sort of makes the next outside zone happen in time. I mean, just barely on time, but here's Riley right along the bumper there through that transition, and then reeling him in. Comes off back onto it. Backs off for this last and final transition. It gets hung up in that transition a little bit. Is Riley in that chase position, but we flip him around and we'll watch the second half unfold. The background at the start line. Riley Sabush now gets ready
for his lead run, being chased down by Darius Ostreka. Ostreka, no stranger to being in that chase lane, and knows what kind of pressure he's going to have to bring. Riley initiates in, looks good off the initiation. A little wider goes Darius Ostreka, but not leaving that rear bumper as he uses it to his advantage up the hill to try and close that gap and get on the door of Riley. They transition through outer zone 4. Riley kicking up a little bit of dirt there into outer zone 4 as they come into outer zone 5. Keeping it nice along that track edge, but leaving it a bit early was Riley as they transition down into outer zone 6. The pressure, the consistent pressure from Darius in this chase has been absolutely perfect as they come through that final inside clip and finish out wheel to wheel.
Yeah, let's take another look at it here again. Second half of the battle, Riley out front. Big initiation. Goes a bit wide for that inside clip and then doesn't quite fill the next outside zone. Goes way wide of the reference point there as well, going all the way out to that wall, which can be a little bit tough for that chase position. But Darius hanging with him just fine there in that pocket, right along the bumper through that transition as they work down the small hill now in outside zone 6, coming up to 7 now. And I think a much cleaner job from Darius in that chase position through that last and final turn. We go to our judges. Darius on the left, Riley on the right. Another tough one to call here in the top 32. And there they go, unanimous decision. Darius Ostreka gets the win, but a good battle and fight. Riley So Bush put up against seasoned veteran now, Darius Ostreka. We'll take a look at our bracket, and that's the first left-hand side of the bracket done and finished. Brandon Gardner will move on to face off against Danielis Parangauskas. Robert Kavinsky and Darius Ostreka also move on into the top 16. Next group of drivers loaded in. They're taking their little bit of practice runs before we send them on their way for their top 32 battles. As we see them reset, last call from those judges to come on to the line. We've got number 2 qualifiers, Zacho Sullivan and Steven Hatcher facing off in the top 32.
Well, this should be an interesting battle. A little bit of old versus new when it comes to the VDC. Steven Hatcher been with us a very long time. Well, Though Zach's been with us for a couple seasons, it's nice to see these two kind of duke it out. Last year's VDC champion Zacho Sullivan in the Sim Magic S14 in that lead lane, being chased down by the S2000 of Steven Hatcher. The lights go on, and this top 32 battle is underway. Initiating in is Zacho Sullivan. Steven Hatcher right there with them off the initiation on the door as they go through outer zone 2, transition up the hill to outer zone 3. Steven Hatcher keeping that proximity, but a little bobble there, leaving outer zone 3. They come through outer zone 4 into 5 now. Steven Hatcher getting right up on the door of Zacho Sullivan and holding it there. They transition down to outer zone 6. A little tap there from Steven Hatcher in outer zone 6. But wow, look at the proximity from these two and the lead run that Zach is putting on right now. And Steven not giving him an inch to breathe.
Yeah, let's go back on the replay between these two. Zacho Sullivan out front, qualifying second, and Steven Hatcher battling his way through the last 16 battles and putting on a show here in that chase position. Zach doing exactly what he's supposed to do in that lead, as we saw him do in qualifying, filling these outside zones. But Steven Hatcher, look at there, right along that bumper through the transition, reels him in and stays with him through that outside zone. Good transition from both of them there. Steven applying the pressure in that chase, maybe nudging him through that outside zone. Last and final one coming up here. Last and final dive as well from Steven. And there they go across that finish line.
Back around at the start line, both drivers are itching for the second half of this battle. Steven Hatcher now in the lead with Zacho Sullivan ready to chase him down. The lights go on and off. They go through the gate, down the hill, lighting up the tires the whole way, initiating in. Look at that. Zacho Sullivan mimicking him perfectly through outer zone 1 and 2. Now the transition up the hill to outer zone 3. Oh no! Off the track goes Steven Hatcher. He's gonna miss outer zone 4. But it was only 2 wheels off, and then contact from Zacho Sullivan as Steven Hatcher is trying to regain the speed that he lost off of that tire drop and missing out on that transition. But Zach keeps it right there on the door. Boys, keep it clean. Keep it clean all the way to the end, and they finish out this run.
Oh my goodness. Did it get spicy for a second there? We'll take another look. Steven, again, almost initiating lady, understeers through inside clip, filling that outside zone, and then here, just looks like maybe a little bit of left foot brake. He maybe didn't think he was deep enough for the zone, and then just ended up working out to the outside, and there we see Zach come flying in. But again, Steven's already just way offline, and they keep it going anyway into outside zone 6. They work their way down the hill now, last and final turn. Nice job by Steven. And there they go across that finish line. So we'll go to our judges here. Zach on the left, Steven on the right. And there they go. To the left, Zacho Sullivan does get the win over his friend Steven Hatcher. And we'll see Zach in the top 16.
Wow, what a battle that was. That I could feel the dog fight in that one. That was a great one. But many battles still to come here for the day. As next up, we have William Holloway qualifying 15th in the FD RX-7 in the lead lane, up against Masashi Yoshida qualifying 18th in that BMW wagon. The lights go on and down the hill they come. Initiating it is William. Right along the bumper off the initiation was Yoshida as they come through outer zone 2. Transitioning up the hill now to outer zone 3. Masashi trying his best to stay in the proximity to William Holloway as they come through and transition back into outer zone 5. A huge surge there from the chase, and gets right back up into the pocket of William in that lead. They come into outer zone 6 now, looking nice and dialed in. Masashi not giving up any breathing room as they come into the final sector of the course. Pushing hard and crossing the line wheel to wheel.
Yeah, here we go with that replay. William out front, going for the big initiation. I like it. Fills the first outside zone. Nicely done for the inside clip as well. Filling the next one. And then coming up a little bit shallow, and then works it out to that edge of the course for outside zone 3. Nicely done through the Manji section. And here we see William hang on to this outside maybe a little bit long there. See, he's still on it and then making that transition at the last and final second. And Masashi doing a good job in that chase position, applying the pressure there through outside zone 6. Backs off for the last and final turn and then right back into it. And there they go across the finish line.
Well, after an intense first half of the battle, it is now Masashi Yoshida's chance to lead out the second half of this round. Alongside William Holloway, who will be chasing him down. See who will claim the next spot in the top 16 and go up against Zacho Sullivan. Down the straight they come. Initiating in, looking good for Masashi. Not as close off the initiation was William Holloway, but playing it maybe a little safe as they transition up the hill. Keeping a good distance, a good proximity, but falling off the track is Masashi. Can he save it? 2 tires off, but that is going to hamper the chase driver who has to back out of it. We'll see if the judges will deem that as an unchaseable run. It'll be an interesting one here as Masashi finishes out his little run.
Yeah, there they go across the line. We'll take a look at it here on the replay. Masashi out front. Initiating in. Driver's just really close today, pushing the edge on entering on time. Good transition. Nicely done for 3 until there. Yeah, he's way along the outside, and then yeah, when he makes his transition there, he almost parks the car, really kind of over rotating. I mean, I kind of don't blame William Holloway for getting out of it at that point. Maybe could have kept things along, but that's, you know, it's not for us to decide. That's for those judges as we watch Masashi finish out his lead run here, and they go across that finish line. And we'll go to our judges. William on the left, Masashi on the right. Winner moves on into the top 16. Yeah, there they go to the left. William Holloway gets the win over Masashi. That mistake in outside zone 3 and then into 4. Well, really after 4, just bringing the run to a halt.
Well, at the start line here, we have a Maxim tin guy in the lead, ready to do his battle, but I do not see a Luciano Canero in the server.
Yeah, it sounds like judges are maybe discussing with him in Discord to see if he is going to be able to get into the server. Yeah, I see his name pop up there.
Oh.
Same with Mustafa. Mustafa was missing from the server as well. We'll just wait on them to load on in. Take a quick glance at that bracket as we see there William Holloway moving along ahead past Masashi Yoshida, and will face off against Zacho Sullivan.
Well, now they are both at the line, ready to go. Luciano Canero now gets in that chase position. The lights go on. Maxim Tingai in the lead in that S15. Down the hill they come, initiating in. Looking good for Maxim Tingai out front. A little further behind is Luciano, but able to make up for it in the transition up to outer zone 3. Starting to close that gap, starting to gain that proximity as they come through the Manji section into outer zone 5. Luciano trying to put on that pressure onto Maxim. Maxim's been driving great here all day long throughout qualifying. So now we'll see how this battle shapes up for him. Still on the doors, Luciano, as they come out of outer zone 6 into that final inside clip and to the final outer zone as they finish out this run.
Yeah, let's take another look at it here. Maxim out front, getting off to a good start, initiating in, filling outside zone 1, right along that inside clip as well, filling the next outside zone. Here they come up the hill, right on that reference point. And look at there, sets him up for outside zone 3 nicely. Down to 4 there, picking up that zone. And Luciano trying to apply some pressure in that 2J powered Corvette, maybe almost pushing him through that outside zone. Good transition there from Maxim as well. Just a really smooth job from that lead, leaving that zone maybe a little early, but then grabbing that inside clip. And there they go across the finish line, door to door.
Well, now back around at the start line, ready to duke it out for another half of the battle. Luciano Canero in the lead, being chased down by Maxim Tingai. Through the gate they come, and off they go. Down the hill, initiating in is Luciano, right with them Maxim Tingai, trying to keep that proximity through outer zone 2, which he does manage to do up the hill to outer zone 3. Maxim trying to just edge it a little closer towards him. Manages to do so as they come through outer zone 4, now into outer zone 5. Off course a little bit goes Luciano, which Maxim followed him right through it just to show how well he's mimicking him. But they recover, they get back online. Now through outer zone 6, door to door, almost looking to overtake was Maxim. He was so close to the front end of Luciano when they passed that finish line.
Yeah, let's go back on the replay here. Luciano out front and doing a really good job up until that point where he goes off track. Now he does only pick up that first hash of inside clip, fills the next zone though, and then does a good job into 3, using a little bit of foot brake to get it back out to the outside some more. And here it comes, going off course. Yeah, he's off course there before the grass. And then both of them doing a really good job to really stay in it, even with a little bit less grip there through that transition. And here they come down the hill, around that inside clip, and finishing out the course door to door. We'll go to our judges here between these two. Maxim on the left, Luciano on the right. And there they go, all 3 of those judges moving left for Maxim. And we'll see him in the top 16.
Well, good job there from Maxim as we move on to our next battle. This is going to be Artam Cholkov in the lead position in the BMW up against Mustafa Amine in the RX-8 in that chase lane. The lights go on, off they go. This battle's underway, initiating in. Missing out maybe a little bit on that first outside zone was Artam in that lead lane. Mustafa trying to catch back up to him as they come up to outer zone 3. Not as deep into that outer zone as normally Artam was during qualifying. But now Mustafa on the attack, putting it on the door of Artam's BMW through outer zone 5. Transitioning down to outer zone 6. Mustafa still there, not giving him much room to breathe as they come out of that and do the final transition. Artam manages to inch ahead just a little bit, but Mustafa sticking right there with him.
Let's take another look at it here. Some interesting bits through turn 1 from Artam out front, initiating in, doesn't fill outside zone 1, understeers, and then right here, I mean, he's almost straight, has no choice but to transition a little early there, comes up shallow of outside zone 3, works it out to the outside, and now back on the normal correct line in that lead position. But Mustafa right there with him in chase, right along that bumper through that transition, right back onto the door for outside zone 6 as they work their way down the small hill here now. Last and final turn, not quite picking up that inside clip, and there they go across that finish line for the first half of their battle.
An interesting first half indeed, and something the judges will have to think about, but they got to digest this second run here. Mustafa Amine in the lead lane now in the RX-8, being chased down by Artam Cholkov. The lights go on and the second half is underway. We will go to see Maxim Tingai in the top 16. Initiating in is Mustafa, and a good initiation there from Artam Cholkov in that chase position. Mustafa looking good through the first 3 clips into outer zone 3, but look at Artam on the wheel through outer zone 3 as they come through outer zone 4, now into outer zone 5. Artam gets back up in that pocket, puts it on the door, backs out of it just a bit so they have room for the transition. Mustafa doing a very good job out here in the lead, but the attack from Artam, that is absolutely insane. Hasn't left the door of Mustafa since outer zone 3 and stayed beside it all the way to the finish.
Yeah, let's take another look. Second half of this battle between these two. Mustafa going for the big initiation. I really like it. He's 2 angle before that line. Fills both of those outside zones. Grabs the inside clip and then very nicely done for outside zone 3 right along that reference point, and then filling the zone, filling 4 as well. Just on a really smooth, good lead run here is Mustafa in the RX-8. Just planted into the throttle that we can't hear. Now he does a little bit short on the reference point and then into outside zone 6, but works out to the outside, fills it all the way through, and then a good transition to finish things off. He goes a little bit wide of the inside clip and gets pushed through that finish line. We go to our judges. Artam on the left, Mustafa on the right. Winner moves on into the top 16. Again, this is just top 32 with these battles. And look at there's a one more time I didn't even notice. All 3 of those judges say line them up again, boys.
Well, a real intense battle between these two, leading to that one more time call. And wow, what a battles those were. I mean, everyone, they were just so close. I'm sure there's some cleaning up that they want both of them to do on this now one more time run. And I think we're in for another treat for this one more time to see who will go up against Maxim Tingai in the top 16. Artam Cholkov now in the lead lane once again. And chasing him down one more time here is Mustafa Amine in the RX-8. The light goes on and off they go to start their one more time battle. Through the gate clean, down the straight, Artam initiates in. Look at that proximity from Mustafa Amine right along the door to Artam Cholkov, almost pushing him through outer zone 2. Now they come into outer zone 3. Mustafa Amine has not left the door of Artam yet. He saw how aggressive he was in his chase and knew he had to do the same in this one more time battle. Little bit of dirt kicked up by the lead driver through outer zone 5 as they come into outer zone 6. And Mustafa trying to get back up in that pocket, on that door, on the wheel, as they come through that final inside clip and cross the line wheel to wheel.
Let's take another look at the first half of this one more time battle between these two. And again, just so close to initiating late. There is Artam, and we see Mustafa wash out in the chase position and then get right back into it for outside zone 3. Applying the pressure big time in that chase position, really going after it now throughout the rest of this run. We see a small little tire drop from Artam out front. Good transition back for outside zone 6 on a really good line here through this zone. Start to leave it just a tiny bit early, and then a lot better job through that inside clip from Artam this time around.
A lot better indeed. And hopefully this is what the judges were looking for now to turn them around and send them one more time. Mustafa Amine now in the lead lane. Artam Cholkov ready to chase him down. The lights go on and off they go. Hearing that rotary scream down the straight, initiating in. Look at that there. Artam mimicking him through outer zone 1 and 2. Mustafa doing a good job out front here so far, but look at that proximity from Artam. It is absolutely insane as they come through outer zone 4, now into 5. He's trying to put it on the door, and he is wheel to wheel at least before they have to back off for the transition into outer zone 6. Can Artam make another push and get it right up on the door? He does, but gives a bit of room this time around that final inside clip, but then finishes off side by side.
Yeah, here we go on the replay for the second half. Good initiation from Mustafa. Nicely done for turn 1, hanging on to that angle as long as he can. And then once again, just super dial for outside zone 3, hanging on to that angle, maybe a little long, but Artam right there in that chase position through the bumper on that transition, and then right there with him for outside zone 5. Again, a little bit shallow on that reference point and in the 6, but then works his way to that outside, hanging on to the zone as long as he can. Last and final transition. And there they go across that finish line. Once again, door to door. So do we have a decision here for this one more time battle between these two? Artam on the left, Mustafa on the right. Winner moves on into the top 16 to face off against Maxim Tengai.
So a great battle there between those two, but only one could advance, and that one was Artam. As we move on to our next battle,
I don't think we have a decision just yet.
Sorry, I apologize. No, I thought it was an error on my end, but I saw them pull up to the line. I jumped the gun. I apologize, Craig. I apologize.
Well, or either that or the graphic isn't working because we haven't seen the graphic move. All right, so we'll have to come back to that because it looks like drivers are being sent here.
Yes, I am watching the start line here, and there are two drivers there, but I got no lights yet.
Yeah, the bracket hasn't updated either for me. Oh,
The bracket is
yeah,
updated
there it
on
goes.
my end.
Yeah, it just went for me. Artam Cholkov does indeed get the win.
So Artam Cholkov there getting the win and moving on into the top 16 against Maxim Tengai. So we move on to our next top 32 battle with number 3rd qualifier Alan Hines in the Hines S15 up against Stanislav Taroslav qualifying 30th today. The lights go on and off they go down the straight. Initiating in, looking good so far off the initiation. Stanislav really putting it to the door of Alan Hines through outer zone 2. Now up the hill to outer zone 3. Alan Hines looking very good out front here. Stanislav trying to get that proximity with that big Ferrari as he gets it right on the door through outer zone 5. Holding it wheel to wheel with Alan Hines as he backs off for that transition. They come into outer zone 6 and look at that right along the door of Alan Hines through outer zone 6. Now transitioning once more through the tight hairpin, through the final outer zone, and they finish out side by side.
And let's take another look at it here on this replay. Alan Hines out front. Great initiation on time, the way it should be, filling those outside zones. Working his way up the hill, maybe a little early on his transition, but he makes it work anyway. For outside zone 3. Gonna transition back, filling these outside zones. Holding a steady pace as well as he gets pushed along through outside zone 5. Another good transition from that lead, but the pressure being applied in that chase position. Again, almost pushing him through these outside zones. That's some final turn here, nice and tight to the inside clip, and there they go across that finish line for the first half of their battle.
Well, now back around at the start line and ready to duke it out once more for the second half of this top 32 battle. Stanislav in the lead lane with Alan Hines ready to chase him down. Alan Hines is going to have to bring the pressure in this chase run. We'll see what happens once those lights go on. Lights are on and the second half of this battle's underway. Stanislav out to a good start out of the gate. Alan Hines right there with him. They initiate into outer zone 1. Look at that. Alan Hines keeping up with the speed of that Ferrari through outer zone 2. It is so fast. Dropping a bit of tire though into outer zone 3. That gives Alan Hines the chance to catch up just a little bit as they come through outer zone 4. Now into 5. Alan Hines on the door of Stanislav's big Ferrari, transitioning down to outer zone 6. No breathing room is allowed with Alan Hines in the chase as they transition one more time. Alan Hines, has a mistake there, and it looks like he may have straightened out.
Honestly, it looks like something I have done myself so many times in that last and final section and not downshift and then go to pick up throttle and the car just falls on his face. Good job from Stanislav through turn 1, getting out to just a huge lead. out front, filling that next outside zone. Alan is now back into the fight with outside zone 5, hanging with that Ferrari now. Good transition across right along that track edge now is Stanislav out front. And here comes that last and final transition here. And picks up throttle on time. And it looks like Alan was with him there for a moment and then just all of a sudden wasn't. We go to our judges here. Alan on the left, Stanislav on the right. Winner moves on into the top 16. Judges might have to take a double look there at that last and final section. Make sure Stanislav was all the way on throttle. Not, picking up throttle and then maybe clutching in for a second, then going again. We don't want to see none of that. And there they go to the right. Stanislav Tarasov gets the win over Alan Hines. And Alan Hines getting knocked out in the top 32.
With the way this season goes, anything can happen here in this season of the VDC. It is absolutely insane the level that these guys are driving at. So good job from Stanislav to take that spot in the top 16. So we have our next battle at the line. Ethan Minima in the S15 in the lead lane up against Oliver Eppinger in the Toyota Supra. The lights go on and off they go down the hill. Initiating in, Ethan out to a good start. Oliver having to play catch up a little bit off that initiation, but catches up through outer zone 2, leaves room for the transition into outer zone 3. Now Oliver starting to attack Ethan as they come through outer zone 4. Now into outer zone 5. Ooh, lock up there from the front wheel of Ethan Minima's car, and that gave Oliver Eppinger the chance to get right up on the door of Ethan Minima's car. Now through outer zone 6, on the door still is Oliver Eppinger. One more transition to go as they come through, and Oliver sticks it on the door and almost pushes him through that finish line.
He certainly does. Let's take another look here. Ethan out front, Oliver giving chase. Ethan going for that straight line initiation, barely on time there. Filling that next outside zone, but look at there, Oliver in that chase position right there with him, right in the pocket as he should be along the bumper through these transitions. And then, yeah, as you pointed out, locking up that front wheel there, kind of an awkward place to be using a ton of left foot brake as well. But again, Oliver doing what he needs to do in that chase position to keep things going. And almost pushing him through outside zone 6 as they work their way down the hill. Last and final turn here, a little nudge from the chase. And there they go across that finish line, door to door.
So back around at the start, Oliver Eppinger now in that lead lane. Ethan Minima ready to chase him down. Second half of the top 32 battle. Let's see who will go up against Stanislav in the top 16 is underway. Down the straight they come, initiating in. Oliver Eppinger initiating in greatly, or very good, with Ethan Minima right there with them as they transition up the hill towards outer zone 3. Ethan sticking to that quarter panel of the Supra of Oliver. They transition through outer zone 4 into 5. Ethan now right along the door of Oliver Eppinger through outer zone 5. They transition down to outer zone 6. A little bit of ground lost there for Ethan through outer zone 6 as they transition one final time into that inside clip. Now push out to the outer zone, and along the door goes Ethan Minima.
Yeah, let's take another look at it here, this time with Oliver out front in that Supra being chased down by Ethan Minima. Big initiation from that Supra, grabs that inside clip, fills the next outside zone, and then right along the bumper is Ethan in that chase position, staying with him, doing a good job here. Big transition across in this Manji section of the course. Nicely done in outside zone 5 as well. Starts to leak it a little early there out front though. Good transition for Sigs, comes up a little bit short, could be a little bit deeper in there. He finally makes it to the edge, but then leaves it maybe a little early again. Barely gets around that inside cliff, and there they go across that finish line. We go to our judges. Ethan on the left, Oliver on the right. Or could we see him maybe go one more time? Judges taking their time with this decision. It is a tough one. Very close battle between these two. Or again, could we see them line up for a second time here in the top 32? And it looks like we have a decision. We've got one judge going right for Oliver, and we do. We have a one more time. So Carl and Matt both choosing to line them back up, and that's exactly what we'll get.
Well, a very heartfelt battle between these two and a very close battle between these two. So now we will line them up one more time to see who will go face off against Stanislav Tarasov. Ethan Minima in the S15 slots into the lead lane. Beside him, Oliver Eppinger in the Toyota Supra in the chase position. The lights go on and off we go for the first half of this one more time battle. Down the hill, initiating in, looking good from both drivers there through outer zone 1 into 2. The proximity from Oliver through outer zone 2 was very good, coming up the hill to outer zone 3. Oliver not leaving much room there for error as they come through outer zone 4, now into 5, trying to put it on the door of Ethan's car. Can't quite get there, leaves a bit of space as they transition down the hill now into outer zone 6. Almost thought that was going to be off, a tire off, but he keeps it on the circuit for our lead. But Oliver is all over Ethan, even with a little bit of contact there at the end.
Yeah, let's take another look here at the first half of their one more time battle. Ethan out front. Again, that straight line initiation. This time it looks to be on time. Filling that next outside zone. Oliver right there with him once again in that chase position. Nicely done, setting up for outside zone 3 and filling it all the way. Both of those drivers. Oliver making the dive for outside zone 5. Hanging out in that pocket through that zone. Right along the bumper there. Ethan working out to that track edge. Just hanging out on that white line all the way through that zone. Final transition. And then once again, another little bump from Oliver in that chase position through that last turn.
Absolutely insane one more time battle, and we still have one more half to go. Oliver Eppinger now in the lead lane. Ethan Minima ready to chase him down. The second half of this one more time battle is underway. Down the straight they come, initiating in. Oh, maybe a little bit of contact there off the initiation. It was so hard to tell because the initiation was so fast through outer zone 2 up to outer zone 3. Now Ethan Minima on the attack here as Oliver Eppinger stays out front, putting on a good lead line so far. A big surge there from Ethan to get right up on the door of Oliver. Now they transition back down the hill. And looking good so far. Ethan keeping it right on the wheel of Oliver's Supra. Transitioning one last time on the door. Supra manages to get away just a little bit, but is that ever a close battle?
It sure is. Again, too, this is the one more time. Second half of it in this replay. Big initiation from Oliver. It looks to be maybe a little bit on the inside of the inside clip, but fills the outside zone 2. Gets into 3 nicely as well. Maybe not quite as deep as Ethan. Ethan right there in that chase position along that bumper. And there we see him pull just a little bit of angle out in that chase position, reeling back in right along the bumper through that transition into 6 as well as they work down the hill now. That's some final transition. Big dive from Ethan, but doesn't make contact. And there they go across that finish line, door to door. A trend going on this round here at Silverstone. Ethan Minima on the left, Oliver Eppinger on the right. Winner moves on, and look at there, it is going to be Oliver Eppinger. Chris and Carl choose Oliver, Matt chooses Ethan, but we'll see Oliver in the top 16.
Well, Good job there from Oliver Eppinger, just inching out on that win over Ethan Minima. And now we get down. 2 top 16 spots remain. And the first one is going to go to one of these two here, both in S14s, but one in the lead lane. The man, the myth, the legend, Tikon Pileski, qualifying 6th today, up against Lazam Asau in that chase lane. The lights go on and off they go. Their top 32 battles underway. Down the hill they come, initiating in is Tikon in that lead. A little late on the initiation is Lazam in that chase, trying to play catch up, trying to get right on that door. Through the third outer zone they come, and now Lazam's starting to put that pressure on them through the Manji section as they come into outer zone 5. There's the surge, and on the door is Lazam 2. Tikon Pileski is a little bit of a waiver there from Tikon coming into outer zone 6, but it doesn't upset the chase driver as they come into that final hairpin and across that finish line.
Yeah, let's take another look at it here on the replay. Tikon out front, getting chased down by Lazam. Good initiation from Tikon, filling that outside zone. Grabbing the inside clip, filling the next one as well. Lazam trying to apply some pressure, works his way into the pocket for outside zone 3. Another good transition out front is Tikon. Lazam backing off quite a bit there for outside zone 5. And let's take a look here. Yeah, Tikon hanging on to that angle for a long time, making that transition a little late. I mean, almost completely past the reference point. He does make it into outside zone 6, but awkward nonetheless, as he does a good job there for the last and final turn, and we flip him around for the second half of their battle.
Flipped around indeed at the start gate. Lazam now in that lead position. Tikon ready to chase him down. And who will advance on to the top 16? 2 spots remain there. And 4 drivers left. Initiating in is Lazam right along of those. Tikon Pileski, look at that, into outer zone 1 and 2. He was on the door. Lazam going a bit wide, dropping a tire. Tikon still glued to the door of Lazam's car as they transition through outer zone 4, then into outer zone 5. Back on the door goes Tikon Pileski. Now to the second and last transition in outer zone 6. Tikon again puts it right up on the door. Tikon is being super aggressive in this chase as they transition for the last few clips right along side by side, wheel to wheel, door to door. Do they finish?
Yeah, let's take another look here. Lazam out front this time. Tikon giving chase. See that initiation. Lazam not really filling outside zone 1 at all, but fills number 2, and then going a little bit deep there, dropping some tire, getting nudged along from Tikon Pileski in that chase position. Right along that bumper once more is Tikon as he works his way into the pocket of that lead car now of Lazam. Good transition back, gets into outside zone 6. Tikon right there in chase, all the way out there to that track edge is Lazam as well. Big transition back, and then yeah, getting nudged along that finish line. Tikon Pileski on the left for our judges, Lazam Asau on the right. And winner moves on into the top 16. Running out of spaces here for the top 16, just 2 more to go. And there they go, moving left almost all together. Tikon Pileski is going to get the win over Lazam Asau, and we'll see him in the top 16. But a good fight from Lazam today.
100%. What a battle that was. The duel of the S4 teams, but Tikon Pileski moves on. So now to end our top 32, with Rees Tatterson qualifying 11th in the Heinz 370Z up against Artam Makushenko, who qualified 22nd today in his BMW. The lights go on and off they go down the straight. Rees Tatterson initiates in. Artam right there with him as they come through outer zone 1. A little bit of a gap there as they come through outer zone 2, but he makes up for it on the transition, taking a shallower line, trying to catch up to Rees Tatterson in that lead as they transition to outer zone 4, now down into 5. He starts pushing and pushing, trying to get up on that door. Can't quite get there as they transition down into outer zone 6. Artam taking advantage of that, maybe able to get a little bit closer here through outer zone 6. Not fully filling out that zone though was Rees Tatterson in the lead as they come through that final inside clip and cross the line.
Now let's take another look on the replay here. Rees Tatterson out front, good initiation. Could have been a little deeper on 1 and then tighter to inside clip 1, but then fills 2 nicely and then good job into 3, but then leaves it just a little bit and then hangs on to that line for quite some time before making the transition into 4. And doing so as well as here, hanging on to it and then making the transition a little shallow and then works to that track edge. There we see Rees leave that zone just a little early as well before making that last and final transition. And there they go across that finish line. Overall, a pretty smooth lead from Rees out front. Could have been better here and there. And then Artam doing a good job in that chase.
Well, now we'll flip them around and see who will go up against Tikhon Pileski in the final spot for the top 16. Artam Makushenko now in the lead. Rees Tatterson ready to chase him down. The lights go on and off they go for the second half of their top 32 battle. Initiating in is Artam, completely missing out though on the first outside zone was Rees Tatterson in that chase position. Coming up the hill into outer zone 3. He's able to keep that proximity now and keep on the door of Artam as they come through outer zone 4, now into outer zone 5. Artam keeping ahead just a little bit there, but Rees starting to get on that bumper as right before they transition into outer zone 6. Rees losing a bit of ground here in outer zone 6, managing to get right up on the door at the exit. Now for the final transition, really slow, Artam goes through it, but they both managed to finish out the run.
Yeah, a little bit of an awkward moment there in that last and final turn, but even more so here on the initiation. I understand what Rees was trying to do there, but I don't think it really paid off. Now, we did see Artam go wide for the inside clip and then get it together for outside zone 2. Same with Rees. He ended up getting it together by outside zone 2 and then applying some pretty good pressure throughout the course. From there, does fall back just a little bit, reels him back in a little bit on the inside is Rees, but there we see Artam leave that zone just a little bit early as well before making that transition, and then he picks up throttle, but we can't really hear it on the replay, but the car was you know, it was a little lazy about really getting back into the power to get himself around that inside clip, so a tough one to call. We'll pull up our graphic. Rees on the left, Artam Makushenko on the right, or could we have it one more time for our final battle in the top 32? It looks like we do not. It looks like Rees Tatterson gets the unanimous victory over Artam Makushenko. Scrappy battle between those two and a tough one to call. So we'll bring up our completed top 32 bracket before we head into our top 16. So Brandon Patrick moving on. He'll face off against Austin Zalewski, Samuel Cuddy, and Daniel Andreev. Brandon Garner and Danielis Barangauskas, Robert Kivsinski, and Darius Ostreka will be our first group of top 16. Zacho Sullivan and William Holloway will follow. Maxim Tengai and Artam Chokov, Stanislav Tarasov, and Oliver Eppinger, and Tikhon Pileski and Rees Tatterson. So we're going to take a small little break before we kick off our top 16 here from our wonderful sponsors, Sim Magic, Extreme Racing, and Grip Royal. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Right, we are back again for round 4 here at Silverstone. We have completed our top 32 and we've made it into the top 16. Drivers just taking a couple of practice runs. If you're just now joining us, here is the top 16 bracket. Our first group on the left-hand side, Brandon Patrick and Austin Zalewski, Samuel Cuddy and Daniel Andreev, Brandon Gardner and Danielis Parangauskas, and Robert Kivsinski. And Darius Ostrako, we're missing just that final name down there at that bottom left-hand side of the bracket. See if we can get that plugged in somehow. Again, drivers taking their last little bit of practice runs. Go back to our start line here. And Brandon Patrick, Austin Zalewski is going to start us out for the top 16. And it's going to be an exciting one. Drivers have been on heaters today, every single last one of them.
Yeah, it's been absolutely crazy today. And it's just going to get wilder and wilder as the day goes on.
Yeah, it looks like we had our drivers coming to the line there, but I see a few more drivers connecting in. We don't want them connecting in during these battles. So it might create a little hiccup, but there they are at the line. It's like they're ready to go.
Well, we want to thank everybody for sticking around for so long, and now we're here with the top 16 battles for round 4 of the Virtual Drift Championship here at Silverstone. And we're starting things off with Brandon Patrick in the Ferrari in the lead lane up against Austin Zalewski in that Z34. Initially, oh man, I can't speak all of a sudden. Initiating in through Outer Zone 1 into Outer Zone 2, Austin Zalewski right there on the door of Brandon Patrick, sorry, as they come through Outer Zone 3 into Outer Zone 4. Now transitioning into Outer Zone 5. Chase driver of Austin getting closer and closer to Brandon as they transition down to Outer Zone 6. Look at that proximity from Brandon right along the door. Or sorry, Austin right along the door through Outer Zone 6 and down into that final hairpin. Austin didn't leave him any room whatsoever.
Really bringing the fight to Brandon Patrick out front as we watch that initiation. Really nicely done by that Fiorella out front, but Austin Zalewski really applying the pressure in that chase position to that #1 qualifier today. They work their way through outside zone 4 through this Bonzi section of the course, and we see Brandon go a little bit wide to begin with for outside zone 5, and then get it back together, back on track where he's supposed to be. Look at there, the white line almost completely gone through outside zone 6. Last and final transition, we see Brandon just go a little bit far, almost grab that first hash, and there they go across that finish line, door to door.
Well, back around at the start gate, Austin Zalewski in the lead lane now. Brandon Patrick ready to chase him down in the Ferrari for the second half of their top 16 battle to see who advances on. The lights go on and off they go down the straight, initiating in. Looking good off the initiation. Austin out front with Brandon right there with him through outer zone 2, transitioning up to outer zone 3. Brandon bringing that pressure, trying to get up on the door, which he is doing as they leave the room for the transition through outer zone 4. Now into 5, Brandon surges up, gets on the door of Austin as they leave the room there for the transition into outer zone 6. Not as close as Austin through outer zone 6 from chase to chase, but Austin doing a good job out front here as he comes around that final inside clip to cross the line.
Yeah, let's go back to the replay here, the second half of our first top 16 battle. Austin, good initiation in, filling outside zone 1. Could have been tighter than inside clip, but then filling outside zone 2 nicely. Brandon reeling him in quickly in that chase position for outside zone 3. Down to 4 now. Right along that bumper, reeling him back in for outside zone 5. A little bit better job from Austin out front for that zone, right along that reference point, and then working into outside zone 6 now. They work down the hill, last and final transition coming up. And there we see Austin go a little bit wide as well, around second hash of that inside clip, and there they go across that finish line. We go to our judges. First time top 16. Brandon Patrick on the left, Austin Zalewski on the right. Winner moves on into the top 8 here for round 4. Will the number 1 qualifier hang on to it? Austin Zalewski taking down. And we've got a decision. Chris goes left, Carl goes right. It's up to Matt. Matt goes left for Brandon Patrick. Brandon Patrick gets the win over Austin. Really tough call there. I think it really could have gone either way, but judges decided to go left for Brandon Patrick, and we'll see him in the top 8.
Good job indeed there from Brandon Patrick. Moving on, as we move on to our next battle here, Samuel Cuddy. The start line's this way. There you go.
You missed your turn.
You've only been driving here for I don't know how long. It's okay though. Samuel Cuddy making it to the line in his brand new RPS 13, that 180 SX in the lead lane, up against Daniel Andrzej in that BMW. Do a quick heat up of the tires there. And ready to go for the next top 16 battle. They both patiently wait for those lights to turn on. The lights go on and this top 16 battle's underway. Samuel Cuddy leading it out. Daniel having to chase him down the straight, initiating in. Looking good off the initiation. Daniel already on the attack through outer zone 1, now into outer zone 2, leaving almost no room for that transition up the hill through outer zone 3. Looking good so far, just leaving a good proximity, a nice tiny gap there. And then bang, back wheel to wheels, Daniel to Samuel Cuddy through outer zone 5. Now the transition to outer zone 6. Daniel hitting no room for error, not allowing him to even hiccup on that throttle as they transition through outer zone 7. That inside clip, Daniel still on the door as they pass through that finish line.
Yeah, an exciting start to this battle as we take another look on the replay. Samuel Cuddy out front, almost three-wheeling that car through that initiation. Nicely done for the whole entire turn 1 and then into turn 2 as well, filling outside zone 3. But Daniel Andreyev right there in that chase position, leaves some room there for that transition, just barely, and then right back into the pocket along the door, almost nudging him through that outside zone. Nicely done on the transition into 6 as well, filling this zone all the way through it to the end of it. Good transition back, picks up that inside clip. Just a fantastic lead and chase by both of these drivers.
Well, back around at the start line, we see Daniel slotting into that lead lane with Samuel ready to chase him down for the second half of this battle and see who will go on to face Brandon Patrick in that top 8. The lights go on and the second half is underway. Daniel up front, Samuel chasing him down, initiating in, looking good off the initiation. Sam really pushing him through outer zone 2 as they come to outer zone 3 now. A little bit of ground loss there, but not a lot. Still in that pocket as they transition to outer zone 4. Now into outer zone 5. Trying to get that proximity back. Be right up in the pocket, right on the door of Daniel. Dropping a little bit of tire as the lead as they come through outer zone 6. But Samuel keeping it right there in the zone, in the pocket as they cross that finish line.
Yeah, nicely done by both of them. We'll take another look at the second half of this top 16 battle between these two. Daniel Andreev out front and slinging that car in. Grabbing that inside clip, filling that zone, but look at the pressure being applied from Samuel Cuddy in that chase position, almost not allowing him to transition up the hill. They continue on. And then it takes a little bit longer for Samuel to get back into the fight for outside zone 5, where Daniel did a little bit better job in it, but I think Samuel had the edge on him for turn 1. There we see a little tire drop from Daniel for outside zone 6. Getting around that inside clip, and there they go across that finish line, door to door once more. And we go to our judges. Samuel Cuddy on the left, Daniel Andreev on the right. Winner moves on into the top 8 for round 4 here at Silverstone. I have to get those images updated for those drivers that decided to change chassis. Even though I do like that F22 Samuel did have, it was different than others, but that S13 short is clean. Sounds good as well. Not sure where he found that sound. Maybe it's the old bowl of potato sound, but oh, look at there. We have a decision, and it's a split one. Daniel Andreev does get the win, with Chris and Carl going right, Matt going left for Samuel Cuddy for a split call, but we'll see Daniel in the top 8.
Daniel there getting the win and moving on to see Brandon Patrick there in the top 8. Brandon Gardner now at the line in that NOS Energy Drink Z. Beside him, Danielis Perengaskis in the BMW, ready to duke it out, see who's going to take the next spot in the top 8. The lights go on and off they go for the first half of their top 16 battle. Down the hill, initiating in is Brandon Gardner. Good off the initiation, but Danielis already on the attack through outer zone 1 as they come through outer zone 2, up the hill to outer zone 3. Danielis sticking right with them as they come through outer zone 3, make that transition happen. Looking good so far, trying to close that gap, get that proximity as they transition down to outer zone 6 now. Danielis just doing a good job at keeping the car right there, right in the pocket, not too close, but not too far away as they come through that final inside clip and to the final outer zone and across the line.
Yeah, here we go with that replay. First half of the battle here in the top 16, and nicely done by both of them. Look at there through turn 1. Really good lead line from Brandon Gardner out front in that all-new Z with Danielis right there in chase. Good transition right along that bumper. Almost pushing him through outside zone 5 here. Backs off before the transition into 6. Again, Brandon just dialed in this car as he works down the small hill here. Last and final transition goes just a little wide of that inside clip. Really easy to do, and there they go across that finish line.
Well, back around at the start line, they are switched around and ready to go again. Danielis now in the lead lane with Brandon ready to chase him down for the second half of this top 16 battle. The lights go on and off they go. Initiating in is Danielis out front. Brandon Gardner right there with them as they come through outer zone 1, now through outer zone 2. Brandon Gardner trying to attack that door, trying to get as close as he can. Danielis out front doing a good job here so far through outer zone 4. They come now transitioning into outer zone 5. There's Brandon Gardner getting right up on the door through outer zone 5, but gonna have to leave some room here for the transition down outer zone 6. He pushes to get even closer to Danielis, but can he make it happen? Through outer zone 7 now, the final inside clip there, door to door. It's going to be a fun one for the judges to decide.
Good luck to him as we take another look at the second half of this battle. Great initiation from Parengauskas. Could have been a little bit tighter to the inside clip. Had a couple of waivers there to turn 1 as well. And there we see Brandon a little bit on the inside for outside zone 3, but applying the pressure nonetheless. As he backs off a little bit and then reels him back in, maybe nudging him a little bit through outside zone 5 as they make their transition for outside zone 6. Danielis setting in nicely along that track edge. Last and final transition here, filling that zone, getting around that inside clip, and there they go across that finish line. We go to our judges. Brandon on the left, Danielis on the right, and they are sliding left for Brandon Gardner. He does get the win over Danielis Parengauskas again. I think it could have went either way there, but we'll see Brandon in the top 8.
Big congrats there to Brandon for getting that win over Danielis. And now we move on to the final battle of this half of the bracket. Robert Kavinsky in the Lexus RCF up against Darius Ostreka in the BMW. The lights go on and this battle is underway. Down the straight they come. Initiating in is Robert out front. Darius right there with them though as they come through outer zone 2. Now transitioning up the hill to outer zone 3. Look at that proximity right along the door through outer zone 3 is Darius as they come through outer zone 4 now into 5. Darius applying all the pressure here, but a good job out front here from Robert so far in this lead run. They come through outer zone 6 now, slowly pushing his way out to that outer zone, maybe leaving it a bit early as they come into that final inside clip, and Darius is basically pushing him across the finish line.
Yeah, really good start to this battle here in the top 16. Robert initiating that RCF in, filling outside zone 2 as well. And then Darius in that chase position. Look at there, absolutely no room in between those two cars for outside zone 3. And then working back into the pocket there. Good transition by both of them. Robert doing a good job out front in that new chassis. Last and final turn coming up here. Nicely done. I mean, couldn't be any tighter to the inside clip, and they're getting a nudge across that finish line.
Well, now back around at the start line, Darius Ostreka slots into the lead, and Robert ready to chase him down as the lights go on. Off they go down the straight. Initiating in is Darius Ostreka, but look at that right there with him. A little bit of contact though. Is that going to push Darius off? It does. Robert pushes too hard and sends Darius Ostreka off course. And I think that'll be all she wrote for this battle here in the top 16.
Yeah, an interesting one. Let's take another look at the replay here. Darius out front this time. Good initiation in. Could have snapped the angle a little bit harder, but looks like Robert just come flying in. Now Darius did get on his brake really early there, but is that enough for Robert making that contact there? We watch it complete out, now reversed back. Darius in the chase now and Robert in the lead, and Darius just pushing him through the track. to finish it out. Look at there. That's the final transition. There they go across that finish line, reverse though, and we go to our judges to make the difficult call here between these two. And maybe not. They are going left quickly for Robert, and they are saying that that break and not snapping to angle immediately the way Darius did is going to give Robert the win there. And that's going to be the first half of the top 16. Let's take a look at that bracket and how it's played out so far. Brandon Patrick gets the win in his battle. He'll move on to face Daniel Andreev in the top 8. Brandon Gardner and Robert Kavinsky also moving on. They'll face off against each other in the top 8 as well. But up next, Zacho Sullivan and William Holloway, Maxim Tingai and Artam Chokov, Stanislav Tarasov and Oliver Eppinger, Tikhon Pileski and Rees Tatterson are all up next here in the top 16. Yeah, let's see a couple discussing it in chat, and you guys are on the right track there. Him initiating in and not being at the angle that he should, and then it's the foot brake coming on to try and fix that mistake that he made in that lead upon initiation, and then that contact from Robert. Next group just now loading in. They're taking a couple of practice runs before we send our first battle off against Zacho Sullivan and William Holloway. Could be a fun one here coming up in the top 16.
Thought I'd just hop in for a second. So hello stream, I'm Chris.
Hey, you are?
Judges. Just to explain that call. So yeah, as Craig was alluding to, for us it comes down to, as Darius goes to initiate, he enters quite late, and if you look at his smoke line, you can see that his smoke line's a little bit low, and right at the moment of contact he goes to hit on the left foot brake and sort of rotate the car. So for us, we're convinced that Darius just went in a little bit quicker than he had done, didn't quite set the car on the end that he wanted to, and wasn't able to drive through the corner. And then because of that, Robert was going super fast on the inside of him, because everyone is going really, really fast on this entry. And then it's a full XL at that point, and Darius just isn't accelerating as hard as he should have been. So that's for us what causes the contact, which is the leading error.
Yeah, absolutely. Great call. We pulled the replay up as you were explaining it, and absolutely spot on. Absolute zero smoke from that lead driver, Darius. So Robert getting the win there. Thank you for that explanation, Chris.
See you later, guys.
And there is that last call from those judges. Zacho Sullivan and William Holloway coming to the line for their top 16 battle.
So here they are at the line. Zach O'Sullivan in the Sim Magic S14 up against William Holloway in his FD RX7. These two are no strangers to each other, so this should be a good battle ahead of us as the lights go on. And off they go to start their top 16 battle. Down the hill, Zach O'Sullivan and William Holloway right there with them through outer zone 1, getting on the tour through outer zone 2, leaving that room for the transition. Zach doing a good job out front here so far. William Holloway keeping in that pocket as they transition out of zone 4, now down into 5. William Holloway trying to sneak up on that door and stick with it as they come through outer zone 5 and transition towards outer zone 6. Now still on it. William Holloway keeping that proximity. One last transition to go. This looks like a very close battle between these two.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll take another look at the first half of this battle here in the top 16. Battle for America here. Zacho Sullivan leading William through. We see a little bit of a hiccup there from William in that chase, but he gets right back into it and in the pocket of Zacho Sullivan as they work through this course, filling that next outside zone. In this Manji section, you see William reeling back in. Stay with Zach through outside zone 5 and now into 6 here. Right along that track edge is Zach. William right there in chase, applying that pressure right along that bumper through the transition. Zach super tight to the inside clip, and there they go across that finish line for the first half of their battle.
Well, back at the line and ready for the second half of their battle. William Holloway now in the lead lane. Zacho Sullivan ready to chase him down. Only one can advance on. Down the straight they come. William Holloway initiating in. Back with Sullivan right there with him. A little further behind, but makes up for it through outer zone 2. Now up the hill into outer zone 3. William Holloway pushing out as wide as he can through outer zone 3, but Zach's starting to stick with them, mimicking him through each of these outer zones. Now getting right up on the door of William Holloway as they transition down into outer zone 6. I thought they were going to make contact. That transition was so close through outer zone 6. One last transition to go. William Holloway, Zacho Sullivan through that inside clip, finishing out door to door.
Now let's go back to the replay for the second half of their battle. William out front. Good initiation in. Getting a little bit of gap on Zach. Zach closes the door coming into outside zone 3. Tons of angle from William right along that track edge. Nicely done by him, filling the next outside zone. Zach backing off just a little bit. Reels him back in for outside zone 5. And William locked into that outside zone. Good transition back once more. Zach applying the pressure now in outside zone 6 as they work down the small little hill here. Last and final one coming up. Nice and tight to the inside clip. And there they go. Door to door across that finish line. And we go to our judges once more here in the top 16. Zacho Sullivan on the left. William Holloway on the right. Winner moves on into the top 8. And there they go, a unanimous decision over William Holloway. Zacho Sullivan does get the win, but really nicely job from William, making huge improvements this round here today at the Silverstone. Just locked into this course and just sadly getting taken out by Zacho Sullivan, our number 2 qualifier.
Yeah, but a fight that he made Zach work for it. It wasn't like it was an easy win. So congrats to Zacho Sullivan, and we'll see you in round 5. Our next battle underway, Maxim Tingai up against Artam Cholkov. Maxim did wonderful today, qualifying 7th, but Artam qualifying 10th. This is going to be a battle between these two. Artam already up near the door of Maxim through outer zone 2 as they come up into outer zone 3. Right along that track edge, dropping 2 tires though is the lead of Maxim. Artam still sticking with him though, even after that tire drop. They come through outer zone 5 now. Artam giving him a bit more room here for the transition into outer zone 6. Maxim keeping it on the track, but Artam on the attack, keeping it on the door through outer zone 6. Now through that inside clip. Contact there from Artam before they cross the line.
Yeah, there sure was, nudging him across that finish line. We'll take another look here on the replay. Maxim out front. Good initiation in. Tight to that inside clip, filling the next outside zone. And there we see Artam get a little bit hung up for that transition, almost driving straight. And then we see Maxim drop a bit of tire on the back half of that outside zone 3. Does a nice job setting in to outside zone 5 now though. A good transition across here, sets up nicely for outside zone 6. Artam now right there in that pocket, pushing him along through that zone. Last and final one here, nice and tight to the inside clip, and as you pointed out, pushing him along that finish line.
Well, now back around at the start gate, ready to go again. Artam now leads. Maxim will chase him down. Who will go on to face Zach O'Sullivan in the top 8. Down the hill they come. Artam initiates in. Maxim along with them, looking good through outer zone 1 and 2, up the hill through outer zone 3. Maybe some big contact there from Maxim in that chase. But Artam managed to keep it on the road and avoid falling off course. Through outer zone 5 they come now. Maxim really on the attack here, trying to keep it right on the door of Artam. But will it be enough, or will that contact? Well, that's what it's going to come down to at the end of the day. Seeing them come to that inside clip now and push to that finish line.
Yeah, he sure did. Let's take another look here. Artam out front, Maxim giving chase. They come down the hill, flick initiation in from Artam, filling that outside zone. Maxim right there in chase though, right along the bumper through that transition. Yeah, there is just a little bit of contact from Maxim in that chase position, adding some angle to Artam's run there, but they keep things going anyway. Nicely done in outside zone 5 here. Big transition across, getting out to outside zone 6 and that track edge. We see Maxim fall back just a little bit here and then right back into the fight for the last and final turn, and there they go across the line. We go to our judges, Maxim on the left, Artam on the right. Winner moves on into the top 8 here for round 4 at Silverstone. Yeah, look at there. They move left. Chris and Carl both go left. Matt goes right for Artam. Maxim does end up getting the win even after the contact. And as Olivier, I think, pointed out in the chat there, that maybe a little bit too much braking in that zone, which then led to the contact from that chase position. A tough one to call once more here in this round of competition at Silverstone. But again, we'll see Maxim in the top 8.
And while Maxim enjoys his victory there, we have our next battle at the line. Oliver Eppinger up against Stanislav Taraslav. Oliver in the Toyota Supra, Stanislav in the Ferrari. They're ready to go to see who will take up the last of 2 top 8 spots that are left for grabs. The lights go on and off they go. Oliver Eppinger hits the cone,
no.
And that's going to be a restart.
Yeah, it sure is.
That doesn't happen often.
Yeah, it turned into Monster Jam for a second there.
Well, back at the line, rewind button got pressed there. Don't worry, you didn't miss anything. Oliver Eppinger in the lead lane with Stanislav Taraslav in the chase. The lights go on and off they go for their run here in the top 16. Initiating in, looking good off the initiation. Stanislav already all over the door of Oliver Eppinger as they come up into outer zone 3. And it's close as they transition into outer zone 4, then 5. Stanislav trying to keep that proximity, trying to stick right on the door of Oliver Eppinger as they transition into outer zone 6 now. He's basically almost pushing him through outer zone 6, but then he manages to pull away just a little bit through outer zone 7. And having to cut the line big time was Stanislav there to make up that proximity and cross the finish line.
Now let's take another look at it here. Oliver Eppinger out front. Graphic a little bit backwards there, but that's all right. We know Oliver is out front in that Supra. A little tight to the inside clip, and there we see him come up short for outside zone 2, but then really nicely done for 3 at the beginning. But we see there just a little tire drop holding on to that outside zone a little bit too long as well from that tire drop. They continue on. Nicely done for outside zone 5. Stanislav in chase in that pocket, applying that pressure through outside zone 6 as we see Oliver leave that zone just a little bit early and then not quite get it around that inside clip, and then they go across that finish line.
Now back around at the start line, ready to go again. Stanislav now in the lead. Oliver ready to chase him down. They come down the straightaway and initiate in. Stanislav really pulling away at the start there, maybe taking out that inside clip though as they go to outer zone 2, transitioning up the hill to outer zone 3. Oliver right back in the pocket, sticking onto the door of Stanislav as they transition to outer zone 5. Right up to the door, maybe dropping a tire from Oliver in that chase position, but stays in proximity and keeps it together. Right glued to the door of Stanislav is Oliver as they make the final transition now through that inside clip, through that outer zone, and right on the door is Oliver.
Yeah, let's take another look at it. Stanislav out front this time. Oliver Eppinger giving chase. And a small little initiation from Stanislav, again getting out to a good lead through that run-up, almost trying to win the battle through the run-up is those Ferraris today as we see Stanislav work his way through this course here, pulling away just a little bit, but there we see Oliver reeling back in. We see Stanislav drop a little bit of a tire first, and then Oliver dropping his tires in that chase position after as they work their way through outside zone 6 now down the hill. Last and final transition, doesn't quite get around that inside clip, and Oliver's right there pushing him along that finish line. We go to our judges. Stanislav on the left, Oliver Eppinger on the right. And it looks like we do have a decision, and all 3 judges unanimously moving left for Stanislav Tarasov, and we'll see him in the top 8.
Stanislav getting the win there. We come to the end of the top 16, our final battle between Tikhon Pileski and Rees Tatterson. Tikhon in the D-Max S14 up against the Heinz E370Z of Rees Tatterson in the chase position. The lights go on and off they go. Down the straight they come. Tikhon out front. Rees Tatterson trying to initiate with them as they go through outer zone 1 into outer zone 2. It's looking clean so far into outer zone 3. Could the robot be back? Rees Tatterson all over the door of Tikhon as they come through outer zone 5 now. Oh, Rees Tatterson surging a little too hard and going into the side of Tikhon through outer zone 5, but that did not upset him as they come through outer zone 6. And Rees Tatterson manages to regain himself, coming back through that inside clip and finishing out the run.
Yeah, good job by both in the first half of this battle. A little bit of contact here and there as well. We'll take another look at it on our replay. Tikhon out front. Big initiation, just snapping to angle immediately in that lead position. But Rees right there in that chase. And then coming in hot there and for outside zone 3 right along that track edge. Surprised we didn't see some dirt pop up. We may have. As we work our way into outside zone 5, we see Rees just come flying in, give a tap to Tikhon Pileski out front, but they both do a good job to keep things going, especially Tikhon in that lead. Last and final turn coming up, getting around that inside clip, back on throttle, and across that finish line.
So back around at the start, they are flipped around. Rees Tatterson now in that lead lane, while Tikhon Pileski is ready to chase him down. The lights go on. Not to go for the second half of this top 16 battle. 1 slot remains, and only 1 driver can advance, initiating in. Wow, Tikon trying to stick with Rees Tatterson through that first 2 outer zones, and it's looking good. Tikon's really applying the pressure here. Rees Tatterson just driving with his heart at this point, trying to make everything happen. And Tikon keeps putting that car right on the door every time they move. They transition for outer zone 6. Back on board goes Tikon as they come around outer zone 6. And for the final transition, what a battle between these two. A little touch there as they came through that inside clip, and they finish out wheel to wheel.
Oh my goodness. What a fight between these two. Rees Tatterson out front here on the replay. Tikon giving chase. Big initiation from Rees. Could have snapped to maybe a little bit more angle, but he's flying through turn 1, filling outside zone 2 as well. Works his way into outside zone 3. A really tough one on this course. Big angle for outside zone 4. Rees right along the bumper, reels him back in for outside zone 5. Right in there in that pocket. Drops back quite a bit there for this next transition, and then right back into the pocket. A little nudge from Tikon in outside zone 6. Here they come down the hill. Last and final transition, and a little bit more contact from that chase position. There they go across that finish line. Just back and forth these two, and we go to our judges. Tikon Pileski on the left, Rees Tatterson on the right. Winner moves on into the top 8. Our last and final top 16 battle is these two. Look at there, Rees. He's going to get the win. Unanimous decision from all 3 of those judges there, even after that contact. I'll see if I can overhear from those judges there. I honestly thought it was going to go to Tikon, but there has been mistakes that have been really subtle here that the judges are picking up today in these battles. And I think it is just maybe Tikon losing some speed there, making it look like Rees is coming flying in. That's what it is. That's what it does sound like. We'll pull up our bracket that is now complete for the top 16. Brandon Patrick moves along. He'll face off against Daniel Andreev, Brandon Garner, and Robert Kivsinski. Zacho Sullivan and Maxim Tingai, Stanislav Tarasov, and Rees Tatterson all moving on into the top 8 after winning their top 16 battles. What an exciting event so far here at this throwback version of Silverstone. It's been a ton of fun so far. I even saw someone in chat there saying their local RC shop has it playing on their projector. That's so awesome to hear. RC shop, I don't know who you are, but shout out to you guys. Thank you for playing the stream. And looks like we've got our top 8 battle ready to go.
I think we do, and this looks like Brandon Patrick sitting at the line in the lead lane, qualifying first today up against the 9th qualifier of Daniel Andreev in that chase position in the BMW. And they're ready to go for the first top 8 battle. As the lights come on and this battle's underway. Down the straight they come. Initiating in. And Andreev right there with Brandon as they come through outer zone 1 and 2. Transitioning up the hill now in outer zone 3. Look at that proximity there from Daniel as they transition outer zone 4. Then to 5. A big surge up to grab that proximity once again and get on the door of Brandon's car. Transitioning now to outer zone 6. No room for error is Daniel in that chase position. Brandon's got to keep it clean in this lead run. They come around that inside clip and they finish out side by side.
Oh my goodness gracious. Let's go back to that replay. So we see Brandon initiate in. Again, our #1 qualifier here, flying through turn 1. Daniel right there along that bumper, coming into outside zone 3 and applying that pressure all the way through that zone. Brandon hanging on to that angle for quite some time before making this transition. There we see Daniel come flying into that pocket of that big Ferrari. Here comes that transition. We see Brandon go a little bit wide there. We even see the dirt pop up, but that doesn't stop them working their way down the hill here. Last and final turn, and getting pushed along is Fiorella across that finish line.
Well, back around and ready for the second half of their top 8 battle. Daniel now in the lead. Brandon ready to chase him down. Only one can move on. Lights go on, off they go, down the straight. Initiating it, Zacho, Brandon Patrick trying to stick with them as they come through outer zone 2. A tire drop there from the lead through outer zone 2. Another tire drop through outer zone 3 from our lead driver. Brandon not being upset by it though, and sticking with him as he comes through outer zone 5 now. Two drivers only have a few more outer zones to go. Another quick little puff of dirt there from our lead as they come into outer zone 6. Brandon Patrick giving him again no room to breathe as they come through and finish out this second battle.
Yeah, let's go back on the replay here. What a scrappy battle between these two here in the top 8. Daniel out front. Good initiation. Picking up inside clip. We see a little puff of dirt there, but I mean, just barely falling off. And yeah, it looks like he does just drop that one single tire over the edge on his own. Brandon really close, but it looks like the little bit of a nudging comes after he drops that tire. They keep things going like nothing ever happened. And there we see a little puff of smoke again from Daniel out front, just going a little bit far. Very similar to Brandon and his lead as well. And there they go across that finish line together. And we go to our judges here. First time in the top 8. Brandon on the left, Daniel Andreev on the right. Winner moves on into the final 4 as we work closer to the end of this spectacular event here at Silverstone. Again, round 4 of season 8. Just 2 more rounds to go after this. April 27th will be our next round, so a bit of a break in between these 2 rounds as we've got Formula Drift coming up. I know I'll be flying out next Saturday. Go along with Nick Novak, driving the truck with him this year as well. Oh, look, we have a decision. Brandon Patrick gets the win over Daniel Andreev. We'll see Brandon Patrick in the top 4.
Brandon Patrick moving on to the top 4. Only 3 spots remain as we move on to our next battle. Brandon Gardner in the NOS Energy Drink Z up against Robert Kavinsky in the new to him Lexus RCF. Brandon qualifying 4th, Robert qualifying 5th. This should be a very good battle between these two. The lights go on and the battle is underway. Down the straight they come. Brandon initiating it through outer zone 1. But there we saw Robert get really close right along the door. Maybe even made a little bit of contact through outer zone 1. Kept that proximity through outer zone 2. Another touch there to Brandon as they transition into outer zone 4. Now into outer zone 5. Another hit there from Robert in that chase position. Robert just going for broke here on this run, trying to keep that Lexus as close to that Z as possible as they transition one last time. Another hit from the chase driver of Robert. Oh, what a scrappy first battle.
Yeah, let's take another look at it here. Brandon Gardner out front. Big initiation in, doing a good job through turn 1, filling outside zone 2. Right along the bumper is Robert in the RCF, and then a little nudge there between the two. Robert having to back off just a little bit, and then there's another nudge from Robert in that chase position as they work their way through outside zone 5, transition into outside zone 6. Super nicely done from Brandon out front, riding that track edge. And there, honestly, it almost seems like Brandon got held up in that transition. Maybe a little bit of contact before the transition even happened. I don't know. It's really tough to tell there between those two. And then you have that contact after as well, which then, you know, maybe gets Brandon around that inside clip. It's going to be a tough one for these judges.
Sure is, but they're back at the line, ready to go again. Robert Kavinsky now in the lead. Brandon Gardner ready to chase him down. The lights go on, and the second half of this battle is underway. Who will go to face Brandon Patrick in the finals? Initiating in. Look at the attack from Brandon in that chase, but looking good out front from Robert Kavinsky here as they come through outer zone 3. Transitioning now into outer zone 4. Brandon holding back just a little bit here before really getting up into that pocket, getting into the door of Robert. As they make the transition into outer zone 6. It's looking good so far. Robert doing a good job out front here to make a good end to this battle, coming through that second last outer zone, the inside clip, finishing out side by side.
Yeah, a lot cleaner second half of the battle. And here we go with that replay. Robert with a really nice initiation, drives that car to inside clip, fills the next outside zone, and look at there, Brandon making a huge dive along that bumper through that transition up the hill, hanging on to that pocket of that RCF, right along the bumper once more through that transition into outside zone 5 as they work their way through it here in this replay. Good snappy transition back. Robert doing a good job up front, but Brandon applying all the pressure in that chase position. Robert, good job around that inside clip. There they go across that finish line. A close one to call for these judges. Brandon's on the left, Robert on the right. Winner moves on into the top 4. And there they go, moving left for Brandon Garner. So maybe saying a little, Robert being a little too aggressive in his chase position, as we saw quite a bit of contact, not only in that last and final turn, but before that as well, twice throughout that run. And we'll see Brandon in the top 4.
We sure will. The battle of the Brandons. Only one shall win. So we move on to our next top 8 battle. Zacho Sullivan qualifying 2nd, Maxim Tingai qualifying 7th in the chase, ready to go to see who moves on to the next round of competition. Zacho Sullivan initiating, Maxim right there with them as they come through outer zone 1 through to outer zone 2. Almost looks like Maxim didn't leave him any room for the transition and then hits him through outer zone 3, but Zach isn't fazed by it and just keeps wheeling that S14, that Sim Magic S14 around outer zone 5. Now down into outer zone 6. Maxim still on the attack here and driving absolutely beautifully today. And sadly, that mistake at the beginning of the course might be a big one here as they finish out the run.
Yeah, let's take another look at it on the replay here. Zacho Sullivan out front being chased down by Maxim. Big initiation from Zach there, grabbing that first hash inside clip, and yeah, just not enough room left for the transition. Zach over rotates through it afterwards, but then they get right back into it again like nothing ever happened. Into outside zone 5 now, with Maxim in chase, still applying the pressure, maybe trying to make up for that bit of contact there, that chase position. Zach working his way down the hill now, and then goes awkwardly wide around the inside clip, but there they go across that finish line.
Alrighty, well, we are ready to go for the second half of this battle. Maxim now taking the lead. Zacho Sullivan ready to chase him down. Lights go on and off they go for the second half of this battle. Initiating in. Look at Zach on the bumper off the initiation and sticks with him through outer zone 2. Now transitioning into outer zone 3. Maxim pushing hard, falling off course just a little bit there, kicking up some dirt as they transition through outer zone 4. Now into 5. Zach holding back just a little bit, and a little more dirt kicked up from Maxim in that lead as they transition into outer zone 6. Zach really sticking it to the side of Maxim's door, leaving that room for the transition into the final inside clip, into the final outer zone. What a battle.
Yeah, let's take another look at it here. Maxim out front this time in a heater of a lead run. Good initiation, grabs that inside clip, fills the next outside zone, and then keeps up his momentum coming into outside zone 3. 2 point, yeah, I'm not sure if he did actually drop a tire at outside zone 3. I'm just riding the edge all the way through, but he does drop there for outside zone 5. Just way wide there at the beginning. Does a good job to get it back onto track, but we do see a little bit of dirt pop up, and they continue on, finishing outside zone 6 now into 7 around the inside clip and finishing out the run. We go to our judges once more here in the top 8. Zacho Sullivan on the left, Maxim on the right, and they are sliding left for Zacho Sullivan. We'll see Zach in the final 4, but a good job from Maxim.
Maxim has been driving absolutely crazy all day today, so big shout out to Maxim for the driving he did as we move on to our last battle, top 8. Stanislav Tarasov in the chase lane in the Ferrari up against Rees Tatterson in the Heinz 370Z. Lights go on, off they go down the straight, initiating in, Rees out front. Tarasov chasing him down as they come through outer zone 2. Could have been a bit deeper into outer zone 2 for the lead, but chasing, keeping on the door is Stanislav as they come through outer zone 4 and now into outer zone 5. But ooh, a hit there from Stanislav, almost pushes him off, but he keeps it together. I did have a leg spike on my end, so I'm not sure if that affects them as well. But they come through outer zone 6, then into 7, and now they get through that inside clip and they finish out wheel to wheel.
Yeah, it all seemed okay on my end. We'll take another look at it on the replay here. Rees going for the initiation. Then I like they're using that course. Not quite filling outside zone 2 though, and we see Stanislav right on the bumper. Rees right on the track edge there for outside zone 3. And yeah, get a little out of shape there. Yeah, it looks like Stanislav just didn't have a whole lot of angle when he picked up throttle for outside zone 5, but then Rees didn't have a whole lot of speed behind it either. It's gonna be a tough one to call. Judges might take their time there on that bit of contact as we wait for him to go back for the second half of their battle.
Back around at the start line, Stanislav takes his slot in that lead lane in the Ferrari as the Heinz 370Z of Rees Tatterson gets into the chase lane, and they're ready for the second half of their battle. Who will go on to face Zach O'Sullivan? The lights go on and off they go. Down the straight and initiating in. Stanislav looking good through outer zone 1, but Rees Tatterson right there with them as they come through outer zone 2, now transitioning up the hill to outer zone 3. Right along that track edge, but the proximity here from Rees Tatterson is great as they come through outer zone 4 and transition into outer zone 5. Tatterson trying to keep in that pocket, trying to keep on the door as Stanislav is running a very good lead run here. Tatterson falling off a little bit there off the transition into outer zone 6, but is he going to make up for it in that inside clip? He tries to get it on the door, and they finish out the run.
Yeah, here we go back with the replay. Stanislav out front, Rees giving chase. Initiating in, filling outside zone 1, a little tight to inside clip. Filling outside zone 2, right along that reference point before outside zone 3. Down into 4, Rees right there in chase. Reeling him back in for outside zone 5. We see a little puff of dirt there, but keeps it on track. Is Stanislav in that big Ferrari. Rees again trying to apply some pressure, but falls back quite a bit in the beginning of outside zone 6, down into 7 around the inside clip, just barely is that Ferrari, and there they go across that finish line. We go to our judges. Stanislav on the left, Rees on the right. But I think it's going to come down to the contact in the first half of the run. We did see Rees have a little bit of a moment in outside zone 4. It looks like maybe a little bit of lag, but then Stanislav came flying in on way less angle, and there it is, unanimous decision. It goes to Rees Tatterson. We'll see Rees in the final 4 against Zacho Sullivan. So what a final 4 we have coming up here on your screen. Brandon Patrick versus Brandon Gardner, Zacho Sullivan versus Rees Tatterson in the final 4. This is going to be nuts.
It's going to be absolutely crazy here, and it starts off with the battle of the Brandons. Who's the better Brandon? I'm sorry, I'm gonna milk this one. I've been wanting this to happen for a long time. In our lead lane, Brandon Patrick in the Ferrari. In the chase lane, Brandon Gardner in the NOS Energy Drink. Chris Fordsworth Racing, all new Z. The lights go on and off they go down the hill. And initiating it is Brandon Patrick. Gardner right behind him as they come through the inside clip into outer zone 2. They transition up the hill. Patrick on a good lead line, but look at the proximity from Gardner as they come up the hill. He was trying to keep it right on that door before they had to back out of it for the transition. The Manji section that leads them into this outer zone here, outer zone 5. Now Patrick out front trying to just keep the car on a good line, but look at that pressure from Gardner in the chase. Absolutely mental here between these two as they are right on each other's door all the way around this track.
Yeah, they sure were. We'll go back to the replay here. Final 4 battle between the Brandons. Brandon Patrick versus Brandon Gardner. Good initiation from Patrick out front. We see Gardner get a little out of shape and then right back into it though. Into that pocket and then applying the pressure for outside zone 3, the toughest zone of the course there. Right along that bumper through that transition into outside zone 5. Right along the edge is Brandon Patrick out front in Fiorella, working their way into outside zone 6. I'm surprised we didn't see a little bit of dirt there as he was right along that edge. Final transition, about as tight as you can be, and there they go across that finish line, connected.
Well, back at the start line, who will move into the finals? Who will go to the 3rd place matchup? Gardner now in the lead lane. Patrick ready to chase him down. The lights go on, and the second half of this battle is underway through the gate lead. And down the hill they come. Initiating in, Brandon Gardner out front looking good, but Patrick right behind him, ready to go as they come into outer zone 3. Oh, I thought he was going to go off course there being that wide, but he saves it just by kicking up a little bit of dirt as they come through outer zone 4, then 5. Patrick trying to get up on that door and put that big Ferrari on the side of that Z as they come transition through to outer zone 6 now. Patrick still glued to the side of Gardner's car as they come through the final outer zone, and they are wheel to wheel as they cross that finish line.
Yeah, we go back to our replay. Brandon Gardner out front this time. Patrick giving chase. Big initiation from Gardner. Doing a really good job through turn 1, filling outside zone 2. Really wide though at the top of the hill, almost getting a piece of the wall. We see him drop a bit of tire there at the beginning of outside zone 3 along the corner there, and then right along the track edge is Brandon Gardner out front in that all new Z, and push through outside zone 6 now down the hill, leaving that zone maybe a little early. Big angle from Brandon Patrick in that chase, and there they go across that finish line. This could go either way, I think, for the top 4 battle between the Brandons. Brandon Patrick on the left, Brandon Gardner on the right, Fiorello on the left, Chris Forsberg Racing all new Z on the right. We have a decision there. They are moving left. Brandon Patrick is going to get the win here in the Battle of the Brandons, but Brandon Gardner isn't done just yet. He has his 3rd place battle coming up.
What a great end to the Battle of the Brandons. I'm just going to shout out one of the commenters here for saying, Brandon won that. Well, yes, a Brandon won that. I like that. That made me tick. So we move on to the next battle here to see who will go face off against the Brandons. Zacho Sullivan in the Sim Magic S14 up against Rees Tatterson in the Heinz 370Z. Initiating in Zacho Sullivan, but look at Rees right there with him as they come through outer zone 1 into outer zone 2, transitioning up the hill into outer zone 3. Rees Tatterson really keeping that proximity through outer zone 3 as they come into outer zone 4. Transitioning along the bumper was Rees Tatterson into outer zone 5, keeping it on the wheel of Zach O'Sullivan into outer zone 6 now. Rees still trying to keep that pressure on him, which he is doing very well into that second to last outer zone. A little touch there from Rees as they come across that line.
Oh man, what a battle between these good longtime friends now. They actually made a trip together back with Forza, if anyone remembers that. But look at there, through turn 1, filling outside zone 2 is Zach, and then right along that track edge for outside zone 3. Such a tough zone to do that in, and Zach does it near perfect. Rees right there in chase though, applying some pressure in outside zone 5. Here they come down into outside zone 6 here on the replay, filling it all the way through. Hanging on to that pocket is Rees. Last and final transition, and we see a little nudge there from that chase, and there they go across that finish line. We'll flip them around for the second half of their top 4 battle.
Well, the second half indeed is here and ready to go. Rees Tatterson now in the lead. Zacho Sullivan ready to chase him down. Who will move on to the third place battle? Who will go into the finals to fight for the first place prize? Initiating in is Rees Tatterson and Zacho Sullivan initiating in with them as they come through. Outer zone 2 up the hill into outer zone 3. Dropping a tire is Rees Tatterson, but the proximity from Zacho Sullivan. He was on the door all through outer zone 3 as they come through outer zone 5 now, transitioning down the hill to outer zone 6. No tire drop in 6, but a Zacho Sullivan on the door as they come through outer zone 7. Zach trying to push even harder and keep it directly on the door across that line.
Oh my goodness. I was muted, but I was like, no! As it came into outside zone 3. Here we go on the replay. Big initiation. Zach trying maybe a little something different. I'm not sure if it paid off though. And here we see, ooh, actually it looks like some contact from Zach in the chase position before Rees goes off track there. Really tough one to see, but we'll continue watching the replay as they work their way through this course now. Rees setting in a little bit too deep for outside zone 6. We see him leave it a little early as well, and then get around that inside clip. Last and final turn of the course. There we go to our judges, maybe give them some time to look over the replays and whatnot for that outside zone 3 in the second half of that battle. Zacho Sullivan is on the left, Rees Tatterson on the right. Winner moves on into the finals. The other will move to the third place battle against Brandon Gardner, which is going to be another heater of a battle. I hope so, at least. I don't, you know, let's all knock on wood. Really just a bunch of friends here in the top 4. They do a lot of driving together. But these two are definitely going way, way, way back in the old Forza days, and it's really cool to see them battle it out here on this old version of Silverstone. Judges definitely taking their time with this one, as I would as well. Probably making sure, because I do think almost convinced there was some contact there, but was it from Rees maybe slowing down? Oh, we've got a split decision. Are we going to see him go one more time? No, we are not. Rees Tatterson is going to get the win over Zacho Sullivan. Move on into the finals, and we'll see Zach face off against Brandon Gardner for the 3rd place position here for round 4. What a battle between these two. Absolutely insane.
Absolutely wild. And I mean, congrats to Rees. I mean, I know it's been a while since he's been up here, so I mean, he must just be jazzed right now.
Absolutely, as he should be. And yeah, just fantastic to see them battle it out here on the old version of Silverstone. Again, this layout will become public, and maybe a little surprise for those as well. I believe I should be able to finish it tomorrow. I know I'm hiding it well, but I am running a little bit of a fever today. I haven't been feeling the greatest, and a couple of things I got to finish. But hopefully I can get it done later tonight and then get it out tomorrow for everyone. But we've got our 3rd place battle at the line.
3rd place battle at the line indeed. Zacho Sullivan in the lead lane in the Sim Magic S14. Then the Chris Forsberg Racing Z. We have Brandon Gardner. Initiating in is Zacho Sullivan. Brandon Gardner really trying to close that gap though through outer zone 2 as they transition up the hill. Along the track edge, just a little bit of dirt kicked up, but Brandon Gardner not moving off the door of Zacho Sullivan's car as he transitions along the bumper into outer zone 5. Keeping it there, holding it there, waiting for the transition to happen. Back on the door goes Brandon Gardner as they come through outer zone 6. Absolutely mental driving here today through outer zone 7. Brandon Gardner and Zacho Sullivan cross that line.
Yeah, nicely done by both of them. We'll go back to the replay here. Zacho Sullivan out front. Brandon Gardner giving chase. Big initiation from Zach out front. Filling outside zone 2. And working up the hill. Laying into outside zone 3. Almost perfect. We did see just a little puff of dirt, but I mean just barely there in that lead position from Zach, with Brandon applying all the pressure you really can. Look at there along the bumper through that transition into outside zone 6 as they work their way down the small hill here. Last and final turn coming up, filling that zone nicely is Zach. Brandon right there in chase, and there they go across that finish line together.
Now back around at the start gate, Brandon Gardner in the lead lane. Zacho Sullivan ready to chase him down. Who will take home 3rd place here today. Initiating into outer zone 1, looking good. Zacho Sullivan trying to close the gap. Brandon Gardner for the throttle through outer zone 2. Up the hill they come. Through outer zone 3, Zacho Sullivan sticking it to the door. Brandon Gardner as they transition for outer zone 4. Now into outer zone 5. Right on the door is Zacho Sullivan through outer zone 5 onto Brandon Gardner. Brandon Gardner transitions, so does Zach into outer zone 6. Zach looks for that door one more time. Tries to transition again now down the hill through the final hairpin, and they cross the line. What a clean battle between these two.
My goodness gracious. Fantastic 3rd place battle between the two, no matter who wins. And here we go with that replay. Brandon Gardner out front in the CFR all new Z, doing a really good job through turn 1. Nice transition, sets up nicely for outside zone 3. No puff of dirt whatsoever. Zach right there in chase though. Look at there right along the bumper, reels him back in for outside zone 5 as they work their way around it on that track edge. Another good transition back. Car's just super dialed in. Look, again, these skid marks just being dialed into these outside zones. Here they come, last and final turn. And across that finish line, we go to our judges for the 3rd place battle between these two. Brandon Gardner on the left, Zacho Sullivan on the right. Winner gets 3rd place, that last podium spot here for round 4. And just 2 more rounds to go in the season. Next round, April 27th. Again, bit of a break in between these 2 rounds as we got FT coming up. A lot of our drivers involved, whether they're driving, spotting, crewing. And it looks like we have a decision for our third place. Oh, maybe. It's up to Matt. And look at there. Brandon Gardner takes home third place over Zacho, Sullivan. Chris and Matt go with Brandon. Carl goes with Zach. Well, that's going to be enough to give it to Brandon. Fantastic third place battle between those two.
Absolutely phenomenal to Brandon Gardner, and for his first podium. I hope you're enjoying the step there, my friend, as we move over to our final battle of the day. I want to thank everybody for sticking with us through qualifying, through the top 32, through the top 16, all the way to this moment here, where we have Brandon Patrick in the Ferrari and Rees Tatterson in the 370Z here for round 4 of the Virtual Drift Championship, presented by Sim Magic Extreme Sim Racing, Grip Royal, and Joka Design. They initiate into turn 1, but a mistake early on from Rees Tatterson took it a complete inside line through the initiation. Brandon Gardner sticks out as they come through outside zone 3, 4, now into 5. Seems Rees Tatterson has recovered and gotten back on the door of Brandon Patrick. They come around outer zone 6 now. Transitioning into outer zone 7, Rees Tatterson staying on it and staying on that door and finishing out the run.
Man, what an unfortunate one to see there as we take another look on the replay. Yeah, Rees crossing that line himself. Patrick did not, and then gets the tap before initiating. Again, super unfortunate to see there. Brandon continues on anyway. Same with Rees as well, as they're now applying the pressure in that chase position. Rees Tatterson in that Heinz 370Z. Fiorello working his way through the course here. Brandon Patrick going a little wide for that inside clip, and there they go across that finish line together, and we'll flip them around for the final battle.
We sure will. Here we go, but never discount a one more time. Rees Tatterson in the lead lane now. Brandon Patrick ready for the second half. Who takes home first with, okay, so I said nothing. Don't worry about it. You heard nothing. So here we have Rees Tatterson in the 370Z. Ready to go for his lead run. Brandon Patrick in the chase position, ready to go for the second half of their battle to see who will take home first place today. The lights go on, down the hill they come, full throttle, initiates into outer zone 1. Rees Tatterson looking good out front. Brandon Patrick right there with him. Rees not filling all of outer zone 2 as they come up over the hill, maybe dropping a tire over outer zone 3. It was very hard to tell as they come through into outer zone 5 now. Brandon Patrick keeping the very close proximity to Rees Tatterson as they transition down to outer zone 6. Dropping a tire is Rees Tatterson. Gets it back on track though. Into outer zone 7. Brandon Patrick goes back on the attack, gets it back on the door, and they finish out the second run.
Yeah, let's go back on the replay, maybe for the final time today for round 4. Good initiation. Then maybe pours on the angle too early, I'm not sure, but doesn't quite fill outside zone 2. And then, yeah, as you pointed out, just super deep for outside zone 3. They keep it going anyway there. They work their way into outside zone 5. And setting up for the last and final transition, we see another tire off from Rees Tatterson there. Nice and final turn around that inside clip. And I think Brandon may be playing it a little safe, and we pull up our judges. Again, maybe for the final time today. Brandon Patrick on the left. Rees Tatterson on the right. What a fun 3-man this is also going to be between these three.
Very.
Have to get Zach on in there as well. Yeah, he's still in the server.
The other thing I have to say before the judges make a decision, that if Brandon wins, it means he had the perfect round.
It does. And there it is. Yeah, that is going to be enough. Matt hasn't moved just yet, but it is a unanimous decision from all three of those judges. Brandon Patrick does get the win over Rees Tatterson. That's going to be a perfect event for Brandon Patrick. We'll pull up our last and final little bracket here. Brandon Patrick getting the first place position. Rees Tatterson taking home second. Brandon Garner getting third. And Zacho Sullivan getting fourth again. Yeah, someone pointed out in the chat, a bunch of old Forza nerds in the in the finals as well. Get rid of that bracket real quick, as I know they're gonna line up for their hopefully 4-man. I actually want Zach on in this with them. What a throwback for all three of these, or 4 of these guys. And again, something special for a lot of those coming with the release of the layout. And here they go.
Chat's been funny too. They've made me laugh.
No! What a bunch of idiots! No, and they're just, they look like a bunch of Skittles all over the track now. Just different flavor protein bars. Look at them go. Another. Oh my goodness gracious! And there they go across that line. Either way, it was worth it. As Brandon says over Discord, the one mistake he makes all day. Yeah, I think they should go after it again. Let him go again. See if they can clean it up. Look, lights on and everything.
One of the commenters said Rees is in the middle of a Brandon sandwich.
He's in the middle of something. There it is, nice and clean from all 4 of the drivers there. But don't you worry, I did save the clip for the first one. We're not gonna forget that one. We're not. Yep, that one's not going anywhere, guys. Oh man, fantastic.
What a round.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm out of breath. We'll pull up the final little bracket again. Brandon Patrick getting first place. Rees getting second, Brandon Garner getting third, and Zacho Sullivan getting fourth place. We'll get them lined up for their podium pictures as well at the start gate, as they certainly do enjoy it, and excuse me,
Oh no.
deserve it. Again, yep, what's up, Tanner?
Whoa! Well, I was just going to say a big shout out to all the wonderful fans who tuned in today, and to you, Craig, and all the wonderful staff who put in all the hard work to make these events happen. And I wish safe travels for everyone in our community that is traveling to Long Beach for the first Formula D round, whether it be our drivers or whether it be crew, spotters. I wish you all fun and happy and safe events.
Yeah, absolutely. And big shout out to our sponsors as well. Sim Magic, our official title sponsor. They've been so good to us. If you order something from Sim Magic, you'll see our logo on the box. That's hit me right in the feel goods there. We didn't ask them to do that at all. They something they decided to do themselves, and just super greatly appreciate that. Extreme Sim Racing, you can actually use our coupon code for 5% off in the description of the live stream. Grip Royal supplying our official trophy wheels of the season from them. Their brutes are absolutely fantastic, and we've got them tucked into the 4.0 cars that are coming soon, and we based that bad boy off of measurements of the real ones, though. They are extremely accurate. They look absolutely fantastic. They're fantastic in real life as well, of course. They bolt up nicely to the DD, so if you're interested in getting one, you should do so. And then Ali Yusuf, he does the brackets and some of the graphics for us and makes that system all work. Joka for making the start gate here and the cones that we use, the little things that he does for us definitely help a ton and keep us, you know, maybe a little different from what everyone else is using within that community. And then track creator Niker97, you can look him up here on YouTube, put this track together, and again, just one of the best looking tracks I think I've ever seen in regular Assetto Corsa so far. And then super high poly road mesh on this track as well, instead of just driving on what you can see and it being ultra smooth. So when it does go public and you feel a little bit of texture through your wheel, that is where that is coming from. I know it took some of the drivers off guard, but I think they learned to tune around it, as you should. But overall, it made for a fantastic event. The track will go public shortly. It won't be tonight. I can tell you that. I need a little bit of a breather. Again, running a bit of a fever today. I'm a sweaty mess. I need to go take a shower after this, trying to sweat out the fever. But again, it'll probably be tomorrow. I'll try and get to that other little special thing I want to do with the track before its release. So stay tuned for that. So again, as you already said, Tanner, thanks to everyone tuning in today and watching the live stream. The RC shop, you still got us up. Shout out to you guys as well for putting us up in your store. Absolutely greatly appreciate that. And tune in next time, April 27th for round 5. Again, a week before we'll announce what track it's going to be. It's going to be a fun one, so definitely stay tuned, and we'll see you all in just about a month.